Did a week off to get ready for the Huskies help or hurt the Cougars? Questions that will be answered tonight as the Huskies and the Houston Cougars go after their first win of the year. Live from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, it's the Washington Huskies versus the Houston Cougars. Brought to you in part by Mountain Fresh Rainier and Rainier Light, your best defense against thirst. And now, here's Como 4 News Sports Director, Bruce King.
From a darkened Astrodome in Houston, an economy move here, and they don't turn up the lights until just before game time. So the Huskies and the Houston Cougars practicing almost in semi-darkness right now. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce King. What a pleasure it is to have you with us on this night. The University of Washington Huskies against the Houston Cougars. Very, very important football game for both teams here in Houston tonight. Kickoff delayed 30 minutes because there was a baseball game between the Houston Astros, Cincinnati Reds here this afternoon. They couldn't convert the field in time, so the game's delayed for 30 minutes, and we're on with the pregame right now, as you know. Working with me in the broadcast booth, an old friend of a lot of ours, Jimmy Mora, used to be a defensive coordinator at Washington, then with the Seahawks, now the head coach of the Philadelphia and Baltimore Stars, and you won a lot of games over these last few years. What do you think now about practicing in the dark out here and trying to get ready to play a game like this?
Well, it's not too big a deal, Bruce. You know, you'd like to have all the lights on when you're working out, but both teams have to suffer the same consequences, so they'll adjust to it.
Harry Sloan's on the sideline working with us on this broadcast tonight from the Astrodome in Houston. He's down there in the semi-darkness. Harry, what's it like down there?
Well, I tell you, for the last couple of hours, I've been eating dust as they've been converting this field. They started converting it right after the baseball game at about 3:24 this afternoon, 1:24 for you folks at home. 80 people involved. They just didn't get it done in time. When you ask the University of Houston people about it, they just kind of shrug their shoulders. They've been here 20 years, and it's happened a number of times for them. As far as the Husky coaches are concerned, they don't like this field at all. They don't like the open seams. They don't like the dirt infield. They don't like a 6-inch board that runs entirely across the 45-yard line and elevates the field by about 2 inches. They don't like it, but they're here to play football, and they are ready. I'm ready too, Bruce.
I'll tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun here. Washington against Houston, and we'll be back with more of the pregame right after this. Washington against Houston from the Astrodome in Houston. Tough season for Washington. They open 0-2. They lose to Oklahoma State. They lose to BYU. As they get ready to play Houston, let's go back and look at some of the problems they've had and talk with some of the coaches and talk with some of the players about Washington so far in 1985. You watch.
It took the Huskies only 3 plays to score their first touchdown of the year against Oklahoma State as Hugh Millen throws this perfect strike to split in Lonzell Hill, and the Huskies lead it 7-0. But you got the feeling they were going to self-destruct when their defense looked disorganized as the Cowboys' Thurman Thomas just explodes through the middle and goes 35 yards for an Oklahoma State touchdown. 4 plays later, the Huskies lost a major portion of their planned offense as fullback Rick Finney twists an ankle on this pass reception and is sidelined for the rest of the Oklahoma State game and the BYU game the following week. But with the score tied 10-10 against Oklahoma State midway through the second quarter, Hugh Millen finds Hill open again, and he makes a great catch in the corner of the end zone, and the Huskies lead it 17-10 at the half. But the roof fell in on the Huskies in the second half. First, they fumble the ball away in their own end zone. Oklahoma State recovers, and all at once, it's tied 17-17. Early in the fourth quarter, the Cowboys dominated play against a tiring Husky defense, with Thomas jumping in the air and completing this pass to give Oklahoma State a 24-17 lead. The Cowboys added this interception of a Hugh Millen pass a few minutes later as Moore goes 49 yards to score, and the 7th-ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys had a 31-17 win over a disappointed group of Huskies.
A couple big mistakes, though. There's a lot of things that have to be done, and I feel really bad that we lost the game, but we're going to bounce back next week, and we got Brigham Young.
You just got to do the right things at the critical time, you know, and I threw a really critical interception, and I think what you got to do now is just try and put it behind you and realize that we got 10 more games. But, you know, right now it hurts pretty bad.
The team thing wasn't as good. You know, I would like to have won. You know, if it came down to it, I'd probably, you know, give one back if we, you know, for a victory. I wish I could have caught that other one down the end zone when it was pass interference, but, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
The battered Huskies limped into Provo the following Saturday for the much-talked-about battle between last year's 2 top teams in college football, and the matchup belonged to BYU. With Sikahema scoring on the first Cougar drive of the game, and the Huskies never did catch up. The Huskies were their own worst enemy against BYU. They fumbled the ball away time and time again to kill drives. And when that wasn't happening, they were being flagged down for 9 key penalties, 2 of them taking away Husky touchdowns. But despite all that, there were a couple of bright spots. The Huskies found a young redshirt freshman tailback by the name of Vince Weathersby. He ran for 74 yards on 11 carries and earned himself a starting job. And kicker Jeff Jager found the touch again and drilled this 48-yarder, but the Huskies still lose to BYU 31-3.
I was very excited about playing my first collegiate game, you know, coming in second half, having a chance to do something. You know, things went pretty good out there, but, you know, a lot of execution problems kept us from the end zone.
BYU is a good football team. I think that we didn't play up to our full potential. We did a lot of things wrong, and that's what hurt us.
I just feel that we made too many mistakes, and we just got to go out next week and work harder and harder and keep holding on to the ball, and the line's got to do better.
They had a good running attack today, and something different than what they showed previously. They missed the run and passed pretty good today, and they controlled the ball.
They're a good football team, aren't they?
Yeah, national champions last year, and today they played like it.
Don James's Huskies have been plagued by injuries, with Albert Tifono out for the year and Daryl Hall sidelined for weeks. And that injury list is getting longer and longer.
Yeah, we had 2 more linemen injured yesterday, and it looks as though we will not get Kevin Gogan back for this game. Ricky Meyer will stay home also, so Joe Kelly will stay home. We've not done anything to get him back, so we've got problems there. But again, just young players are going to have to go out and play.
The bright spot, however, is that fullback Rick Fenny is back. He says the ankle that kept him out of most of the Oklahoma State game and the BYU game is okay.
Well, it's come along a long ways, and it's a little bit sore, but it feels pretty good. I've been practicing on it, and I think it's going to feel pretty good for the game Saturday.
But even with Fenny back, the Huskies are still missing a number of players. Is Don James feeling the pressure after 2 straight losses?
Well, I think there's pressure every time you come out, and sure, we feel the pressure of you know, the thing that keeps coming back to your mind is that you know that if we keep playing the way we have, that we'll be 0-3. Then, you know, we keep that up, and then next week we'll be 0-4. So you want to get out of it. You want to get on a positive note. But you know, our players are working hard, and the coaches, you know, they're not going home early. And I haven't seen anybody quit.
The Huskies are hoping they've found a team they can beat in Houston. The Cougars, however, came north last year and put a scare in Don James and company by leading 7-3 late in the first half. But with 22 seconds to play in the half and facing a 4th down on their own 44, the Huskies' Hugh Millen throws to Danny Green for 25 yards and a Washington first down. On the next play, it is Green to Millen again. This one is good for 31 yards and a Washington touchdown as the Huskies turn the game around and lead at the half 10-7. The Huskies dominate play in the second half. They force the Cougars to go to the air, with J.C. Pearson getting the first of 2 Husky interceptions against Houston. And that helps set up another Washington touchdown as Walt Hunt scores his first of 2 touchdowns in the game as the Huskies take charge. Hunt will finally cap off the scoring with a 6-yard scamper in the 4th quarter as the Huskies come from behind to beat the Houston Cougars, who go on to win the Southwest Conference Championship by a score of 35-7. What's Don James think of this year's Houston football team and the problems the Huskies face in trying to stop them?
Well, Houston's a team that had a lot of young players last year, and after we beat them, they came back and won the Southwest Conference. As everybody knows, 16 of their starters against us last year are still in their lineup. So, you know, they're a pretty experienced bunch now, and they were a good group of athletes, a good physical team. So we've got to work cut out. They're an equal to Oklahoma State or to BYU.
Houston is a good football team. Southwest Conference champions last year. Don James mentioned 16 players back that played against Washington last year in Seattle. The Huskies are going to be faced with the problem of trying to play, Jim Mora, as we mentioned a moment ago, without Kevin Gogan, without Joe Kelly. 2 key players, offensively, defensively, for Washington. How's it going to affect it?
Well, injuries are always a factor, Bruce, and it's something you want to stay away from early in the year because you know you're going to get some later in the year. And I think with a team like Washington that's a little bit young and inexperienced in a lot of positions anyway, when you lose a couple of key guys like Kelly or Gogan who've been starters in the past and experienced players for you, it's tough to find an adequate replacement.
It is. Young kid named Mike Sandusky is going to start his first game at right offensive tackle for Washington. He'll be playing across the guy by the name of Turner, who's an All-Southwest Conference performer and an All-American, at least on one team. That's going to be a tough matchup.
Yes, it will. This Turner player is supposed to be one of the better, like you say, linemen in the country, and Sandusky has never played a down of varsity football. And it's going to be an interesting matchup, although Sandusky is supposed to be a very good prospect, good young player, and he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
Situations like that make coaches go gray, don't they?
Yeah, you can tell. Looked like you were a coach once, too.
May have been. We'll be back in Houston, and we'll take a look at the Cougars right after this. Change here at the Astrodome in Houston, and on the sideline with a look at this Cougar team that has won 12 of 16 games they have played here in the Astrodome against non-conference opponents. Here's Harry Sloan.
I'll tell you one thing, Bruce, they look tough. I've been down here since Thursday. My first stop here in Houston was here at the Astrodome. It's quite a facility, as you can see, built back in 1965 for a cost of $25 million. It is currently undergoing a $44 million renovation. Hopefully some of that money will be spent on the field. The Husky coaches don't like it at all. The field itself runs east to west. East is behind me. About 5 miles east of here is downtown Houston, and a little south of that is the University of Houston campus. We'll pause right now for the national anthem.
You want me to just continue afterwards? Start again. A very nice rendition of the Star Spangled Banner by the Cougar Marching Band. As I said, I spent some time on campus this week. Not a whole lot of interest in this game. And then when you read the newspapers, you see the Husky Cougar scores buried on page 4. But when you talk to the Cougar football players, you know they're in for a scrap, and they want a little revenge for last year. Let's take a look at that. Bill Yeoman was head coach here at Houston 4 years before the Astrodome was built. This is his 24th year as head coach of the Cougars. He is called the father of the veer offense. Option is the name of his game, and right now he's got the quarterback and surrounding players that can get the job done.
I think our little quarterback was significantly better than he was a year ago. I think our receivers are more comfortable because they're a great deal more familiar with him. Our offensive line, I think, is probably a little bit better than it was a year ago, mainly because it's just a little bit bigger. And our defense, what it is, we've got kids who are physically, have got good speed and strength and all this kind of nonsense, but they just haven't learned to play. And until you learn to play, you got a real problem. And until you can play defense, you can't play football.
And that's one of the reasons why his team lost its opener to Tulsa 31-24. Last year, all his younger players had to do was eat right and warm up. The seniors would tell them what to do. Now they are left to get the job done by themselves.
We've got 65 freshman and sophomore eligibility kids on our 95.
What do you see this game coming down to?
I'll tell you what, if we all hold on to the ball and don't throw the interception, it's going to be, as is always the case, one up front. Our people are going to have to kind of hunker down and play, get their pad level down.
Defensive tackle and All-American candidate T.J. Turner is more than willing to hunker down. He's watched the Huskies on film and was asked if there's anything that scares him.
Nothing really. They all they try to do is just run the ball at you and just outpower you. So we're going to try to match them.
Offensively, when quarterback Gerald Landry isn't running or pitching out, he normally is throwing to All-American candidate tight end Carl Hilton. Hilton is surprised by the Huskies' current record.
because, you know, Coach James, I know he don't appreciate that too much, and we don't appreciate being 0-2, so I feel like it's going to be a battle.
A battle which the Cougars will win, according to Hilton, because the Huskies, he says, just aren't as good as they were last year.
They was well coached, and they was at where they supposed to be in every time, and it was just so hard to, you know, to find an open spot on them. And, you know, this year I don't think they have the same players. I think they have a few younger players, and I feel like they don't got the defense down like last year's defense have. And I think that's going to be a plus for us.
And that's why when I talked to Husky defensive coordinator Jimmy Lambright at the hotel this morning, he had a very worried look on his face. He said when he looked at the first 3 games of this year, he was most concerned about this Houston game. 1, because they run an option and the lights are going down, but I'll still keep talking to you. 1, because they run that option and the Huskies don't see it that much. 2, because of their team speed. And 3, because of the revenge factor. So it's going to be a real interesting game to see if they can overcome that, and he's got a lot of ammunition to do that. Bruce, let's toss it back to you.
Harry, nice to see you in the darkness down there, really. Unbelievable. They turned the lights out here in Houston to introduce the players just before the football game, and it's very difficult to see down on the field. Now you see the band down. It's all dark down there. Huskies are going to have to really adjust to this once they come out and get ready to play, because this is the first time, Jimmy, they've ever played indoors. First time, obviously, they've ever been around anything like this.
You know, sometimes when you're in a different situation like this, though, it fires you up a little bit more. It gets you a little bit more motivated about playing. I think the Husky players having a chance to play in the Astrodome indoors, this type of thing, it might be just something they need to get them going a little bit more.
Well, you were back with that ball club. You look at press row right here, right now. And there are lights up here where we are, but not on the field. You were with that ball club in 1975, the last time that a Don James team lost 2 games to start the season. Now, what did you do back there to get things turned around, or can you relate that to a ball club like this?
Well, it's a little bit different because that was the first year that Don was there, and we were just establishing a program, and I don't think people thought or expected as much of our football team that year as they do now. You know, they've come off some great years, and Don's got a great program going, and number 2 in the nation last year, and I think they expected so much more. So they're a little bit more disappointed when they do lose the first 2. But there's really not a whole lot you can do. You just got to keep plugging away and trying to get better and working hard and correcting your mistakes, and you'll get that first win.
Mistakes, so have just killed them this year. Last year, they had an outstanding defensive team, but in defense of Washington, I think you have to look around and say there are 6 guys, you know, that were on that ball club that are not starting this year, that graduated, went on, a number of them playing the National Football League. How tough is it to rebuild that defense?
Well, it's tough. Again, the Husky program is a well-established program. They've got a good influx of people every year, so they don't have to really start over. But you've got to realize they are young. They have had some crucial injuries, and they have played 2 tough teams in these opening 2 games, something they haven't done since the 1975 season, where they've opened up with 2 very strong ranked football teams.
I can remember back then, I think you came back and beat Navy, something like 14-13, then beat Oregon, and then went down to Alabama and got beat 52-0. You remember that one. But at least you got the program turned around at that time.
Well, yeah, and that was important to that first year. And again, this is a whole different situation because the program's established. They've got a great reputation. It's just a matter of staying with what they're doing. Trying to improve and getting that first win under their belts. And I think this team needs a little confidence right now, and it'll do wonders for them to get a win tonight.
You surprised that Washington's 0-2 right now?
A little bit. In talking to people prior to the season, I thought there was a chance they could lose one of those first 2 games. But I didn't think they'd be 0-2, and yet I'm not discouraged or feel that the season's a total loss like maybe some of the people I've talked to today down here in Houston that are some of the Husky followers. They've still got a chance to go to the Rose Bowl. They've got to have a chance. They have a chance to have a great year. Don's always been a coach whose teams have improved as the seasons come on and have gotten better and played their best football at the end of the year, and we can anticipate this happening with this football team. This is not the end of the world because the Huskies have lost 2 games, believe me.
But they need a win tonight. You're looking at the field now, the Astrodome here in Houston. The lights are beginning to come up. The reason they put the lights down is to introduce the Houston football team. It's almost like the start of a basketball game when you turn the lights out and all the strobes go all over the field. Well, they do that here in Houston for their football team. Now, the lights are beginning to come up. It's getting a little bit brighter. Washington has not come out on the field as yet to play the Houston Cougars in this game. First meeting ever between the 2 here in Houston. Last year, Washington won it by a score of 35-7 in Seattle. But surprisingly enough, that game was really close at the half before Washington finally scored and turned it around.
Well, I didn't see the game, but in reading about the game, even reading some comments by some of the Houston players that played last year, they felt the game was a lot closer on the field than it was on the scoreboard, which I think gives them a little bit more confidence going into this game tonight. But you and I have talked about it today, Bruce, and again, they had a number of turnovers that their defense created that gave them good field position, so they were able to score a lot of points. But other than that, it was a close ball game.
Changes defensively. Don James has really readjusted that defensive line. Interesting for this particular football game. Washington now is moving Andy Fuimaono, who played behind Reggie Rogers on the right side. He will make his first start ever on the left side. He's about 6'2", weighs about 288 right now. The nose guard's going to be a kid by the name of Jimmy Matthews, who is starting his first game at Washington, a non-Letterman senior. Reggie Rogers will start on the right side. Very interesting. Brian Habib, who started at nose guard the first two games, he moves over to back up Andy Fuimaono on the left side. Now, we're going to see all these guys playing, I'm sure, in different lineups while they're in there. But interesting that Washington would start two kids who have never started at Washington against a Houston team in that defensive line. Now, that's going to be tough for them, too.
Well, obviously, they've seen some things these first two games, the defensive coaches have, that have led them to think that these changes will make them a better football team. I still feel that Reggie Rogers is a new guy. Even though he was a starter last year at outside linebacker, to put a guy in as a defensive end, that's a tough position. You know, he didn't even play football for 2 or 3 years in college. And so they've got 3 guys in there starting tonight who really haven't had much experience at those particular positions.
You're looking now at the Husky captains as they walk on the field for the flip of the coin here. And for Washington, number 12, as you know, stumbling there briefly, that's Hugh Mellon. He took a look yesterday at the Astrodome and said, you know, it's kind of strange because the corners are round. And he said it's very hard to sort of pick out the edge of the field. Also, Bestie Jackson, what an outstanding cornerback he is. Kozlowski of BYU said last week after that ball game that's the best corner that he has ever played against, which is a real compliment to Bestie Jackson. And the other man in your picture right there, number 65, Dennis Soldat. He's the big 6'5", 258-pound senior from Richmond, Washington. So here's Harry Sloan on the sideline. Harry?
Bruce, I'm with Skip Hall. Skip, you've been with the players. How has the weight been on them? Is it wearing on them right now?
Harry, you know, I think tonight our players look like they're ready to play. We'll find out what's going to happen on the field, but they seem to have a sense of urgency, and I just hope that we can go out and play a very good football game tonight.
And as far as the waiting is concerned, it hasn't affected them that much?
I don't think the waiting has affected them. I think we've had a long trip down here, and we're here for a good reason, and we'll see if we can put it together.
Okay, thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it, Skip. Well, they apparently are ready, Bruce. So are we. Let's get this thing underway.
I'm with you, Harry. You see the captains meeting in the center of the field. That's Sharpie, number 55, big center for Houston. And T.J. Turner, number 95. What an outstanding player he is. So this is the flip of the coin. The Southwest Conference officials working the football game here tonight in Houston. So it'll be an interesting matchup between Washington and the Houston Cougars. Huskies coming on the field right now. Last year, as we mentioned a moment ago, Washington won it by a score of 35-7 in Seattle. Washington 4-1 against Southwest Conference teams. Houston wins the toss. They have elected to receive. So Washington will kick it off, and we'll be back to Houston right after this. This is Bruce King along with Jim Mora and Harry Sloan. We welcome you live to the Astrodome in Houston. It's the Washington Huskies against the Houston Cougars. Washington coming into this game with an 0-2 record, losing to Oklahoma State 31-17, and then losing to BYU in Provo last week by a score of 31-3. The Huskies haven't scored a point in the second half this year. They've only scored 3 points in the last 6 quarters. You're looking at Jeff Jaeger on your screen right now. He only needs 5 points in this ball game to move into the number 6 career scoring mark for Washington, and back deep for the Houston Cougars, standing back on the goal line, number 4. You will see Earl Allen and Anthony Ketchum. Ketchum is a guy who can just fly. For the Huskies, very, very important football game for them right now. They need a win. They need to get this season turned around. A couple of coaches that have been around for a while in this game. Don James, he's 86-33 at Washington in 11 years. Bill Yeoman, he's been here 24 years, 155, 92-8. He's been at this school longer than any coach in college football who is still active. Jaeger to kick it off for Washington. The delay because of the baseball game here this afternoon between Houston and the Cincinnati Reds. Here we go. Game finally underway. It will be taken by Allen at the goal line. He has a little daylight. Cuts it through the center. He could be gone. Across the 35. Fights his way across the 40 to the 41. So the Huskies having their problems right away, Jimmy.
Well, yeah, they don't like to give up that kind of field position on the opening kickoff, Bruce.
41-yard return. Here it is again, as you will see. Little guy by Allen, not the biggest guy in the world, but boy, he is quick. Jaeger finally comes up, makes a hit. The whole host of Huskies come up after that, but 1st and 10 for Houston at their own 41. We'll give those defensive stats for you in just a moment. The defensive lineup. Handoff straight ahead. And that's Pearson, Matt Pearson. Offensively, Heitman, Hubert, Shoppy, Gant, and Jackson across the offensive line for the Houston Cougars. Landry, Simmons, and Pearson in the backfield. Albert, Habib, and Rogers will change those for you in just a moment because it'll be Fui Maono, Matthews, and Reggie Rogers across the line. 2nd and 6. The ball at the 45. Landry rolling out. Going to be chased. Almost caught. Still on his feet. Up near midfield and very close to a first down, but I think he came up about 6-8 inches short. It's going to bring up 3rd and about a half a foot for the Houston Cougars.
In talking to the defensive coaches today, Bruce, they felt like their number one concern against Landry was to contain him. They would rather have him pass the ball than run the ball.
Albert, Habib, and Rogers. Now, Albert's going to move to the center. Matthews is in the center for you. Yates, Kelly, Rill, and Hadley are the linebackers. Well, Joe Kelly is not here. He didn't make the trip. Jackson, Peoples, Tony Zachary in the backfield along with Ronnie Milas. 3rd and a yard. Straight ahead hit just as he throws across the first down marker and picking up the first down across to the 48-yard line, and that's Michael Simmons. He carried 20 times for 129 yards. He scored a touchdown in the opening game that Houston had a couple of weeks ago. He'll pick up the first down, first down of the ball game for the Houston Cougars. Houston in their backfield, Michael Jackson, he's 6 feet 200, a junior out of Rockport, Texas, and Matt Pearson at 5'11", 201, the junior from Terrell, Texas. 1st and 10 for the Houston Cougars. The ball at the Washington 48. Game just underway here at the Astrodome in Houston. Landry back to throw. Looks again. Goes deep. 3 men there to defend. Flag goes down. It's going to be pass interference, I think, against Washington on the play. That was
This
Shepard.
is a little play-action fake, Bruce,
Larry
where they just
Shepard.
fake the dive play, and they're trying to hit Carl Hilton, their fine tight end, down the middle. It looks like Washington was in a 2-deep zone defense, and it was a good call by the official. There is contact prior to the.
Now, I'm not sure they're going to call it. They're going to call it against Washington. Here we go. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty. That's what happens. This is called the Don James rule. Remember, Don James was the one who instigated this rule with the NCAA, and he said, with pass interference, it shouldn't be an automatic first down.
Defensive pass interference on the defense.
It's a fine rule, and Don has been lobbying for that thing for a long time, and I'm glad he finally got that across. It's an excellent new rule.
So 1st and 10 now for the Houston Cougars. They're on the move. Second first down of the ball game. They line up with Simmons and Pearson in their backfield. Landry, the quarterback. And Shepard in motion to the left. Landry back to throw again. Looks to the corner. Has a man there. Did he catch it inbounds or out of bounds? It's out of bounds. Incomplete. So Houston going deep and working on Washington right away, and that's to a guy who can fly, Anthony Ketchum.
Again, they had a play-action fake off the option play, Bruce, and then he hits Ketchum down here on a down-and-out pattern to the corner. Just out of bounds.
Huskies bring Jimmy Matthews out of the ball game now. Bo Yates goes back in for Washington. Check that defensive line for you in just a moment. Dominguez also in the ball game for Washington now. Tony Dominguez out of Portland, number 89, you'll see. 2nd and 10. Landry with the option to the outside. To the 20 and across to the 18-yard line, and good enough for the first down, and that's Pearson, Matt Pearson. He picks up 12 on the play.
This is the option play. He fakes the dive. Here comes the quarterback down the line of scrimmage, pitches to Pearson. There's nobody that's got the pitch on this play. There should be somebody responsible for picking up the pitch man. Somebody was either blocked or out of position. Good gain for the Cougars.
They move it down to the 18-yard line. Mark it on the 19, really. So it's 1st and 10 there. Landry looking over his ball club right now. Huskies having their problems. Option again. Landry this time going to keep. No pitches it back. Hit just as he gets across the 16 to near the 15-yard line, and that is Simmons.
Again, this is the outside veer where the lead back leads a little bit wider. This is an excellent play by Tim Peoples. Watch him tackle the quarterback and come out here on the pitch and tackle Simmons. That's a fine play by the strong safety, Tim Peoples.
Simmons 2 carries for 7 yards. Pearson 2 for 14 so far. It brings up now 2nd and 7. The ball at the 16, the Washington 16. 12:31 to play here in the first quarter. Houston with the ball for the first time. Young Washington defense trying to stop the Houston Cougars. Handoff left side as a flag goes down. That was Simmons, and he picks up about 3 on the play, but I think they're going to call it back, and it may be a little movement in the left side of that line. That's going to cost Houston 5 yards. The ball to come back to about the 22. Penalties, that's the first against Houston in the ball game. Washington has one, as you know, just a moment ago on a 15-yard pass interference call. So the ball comes back. Young Husky defense out there. You see Bill Yeoman over talking to one of his receivers. That's Anthony Ketchum. And he'll run his receivers in and out of the ball game. And they'll bring the play in. Ketchum is a guy who can just fly. He has a 10-400, 47-4-440. It is now 2nd and 12 for Houston. Oh, just across the 21. For Washington 21. Good hit behind the line of scrimmage for the Huskies, and a great play by Tony Dominguez on Pearson, Matt Pearson. So Pearson trying to go to the outside when the hole closed inside, as you will see, and Tony Dominguez was there to cut it off.
2nd and 11. It's a good time for a draw. They called the draw to Pearson. Tony Dominguez made a real nice play there on the line of scrimmage. And excellent defensive play.
They lose a yard on the play. Take the ball now back to almost the 23, between the 23-22. 11:38 to play. First quarter, Washington against the Houston Cougars, Astrodome in Houston. Game delayed because the baseball game ran a little bit long, and all at once Landry comes to the line of scrimmage and looks over to Yeoman and says, wait a minute, I don't like what I see. And we'll be back with more from the Astrodome in Houston right after this. Play in the first quarter, Washington against Houston, the Astrodome in Houston, as Houston Cougars face a 3rd and a short 13. Closer to 12 yards. Ball on the 22. Landry, the quarterback. Little guy, about 5'11", 188. He's a junior. Shepard in motion. Landry to throw. Looks down to the corner. Caught. Out of bounds. Incomplete. Oh, pass intended over there for Shepard.
Again, a play action fake. Fake to Pearson. Looking for Shepard, coming across. Had him open, good throw, a little bit low. Looked to me like it might have been a catch.
Very close. All he has to do is get a foot in bound. The official was right there, however.
He might have been bobbling the ball. He may not have had complete control of it.
Bill Yeoman says, shakes his head and said, I can't believe that. Chip Browndyke is in to attempt a field goal. Ball's going to be placed down at the 27-yard line. 37-yard field goal right in the center of the field. Whistle blows, and we'll see what the problem is. No score in the football game so far. Washington is clapping, so whatever the penalty is, I think it's going to be against Houston. Yes, it is. So now that's going to drive him back 5 more yards, and it's going to be a little longer field goal, and we'll see whether Browndyke can kick it. Browndyke is 1 of 2 in field goal attempts this year. His longest was 19 yards. He had a 27-yarder blocked a couple of weeks ago in the loss to Tulsa, when they got beat 31-24. Ball now.
This will be a 44-yard kick, Bruce. That 5-yard penalty makes a little bit of difference.
It certainly does. 27. Make it a... Kick is up by Browndyke. And it's good. So Browndyke hits the field goal and puts Houston up by a score of 3-0. And we'll be back to Houston right after this. Chip Browndyke, sophomore out of Dallas, kicks a 44-yard field goal to put Houston up by a score of 3-0 with 11:20 to play here in the first quarter at the Astrodome in Houston. Moves 7 plays, 33 yards to get on the scoreboard. So Washington now will have a chance to see what they can do with the football. Standing back on the goal line for Washington You're looking at Lonzel Hill is back there, along with David Trimble. You see the scoring drive, 3:40 on the clock. And Brondike will kick it off. Taken by Trimble. Up the right side, breaks the tackle, stays on his feet, and gets up to the 33. So the Huskies will put it in play there on their own 33. Washington with the football for the first time.
This is an excellent run by Trimble. Got good blocking here, but he does get hit right about there and should have been down. Makes a good spin, makes about another 10 or 12 yards on his own effort. Good effort by Trimble.
24-yard return. Huskies put it in play. 1st and 10 at the 32. Up back in the eye, Weathersby. Rick Fenny, the fullback. Weathersby to the outside. Still on his feet at the 35. Gets to the 40 to the 41-yard line. So Weathersby just short of a first down. He takes the ball up to the 41. So the Huskies will face now 2nd and about 9. Soldat, Garth Thomas, Egan, Burnham. Now Gogan, we left him home, so he's not here. Zendusky, the sophomore from Corvallis, starts at the right offensive tackle position. Jones, Franklin, and Trimble are the wide receivers. Hugh Millen, or I should say Lonzel Hill, will start in place of Darryl Franklin out there. Millen looks to the outside. Little screen pass to the left. Weathersby still on his feet. Good move. He's at the 40, and Weathersby down to the 35. The stop made by Kenneth Blunson, the right defensive tackle for the Houston Cougars.
What we got here, Bruce, on first down, a little flare screen out here to Weathersby, and you'll see 2 fine blocks right there by 68 and 57. Good block by Egan, and Weathersby makes a good cut right there and picks up an excellent gain.
Vince
Another
Weathersby.
good block right there.
11 carries, 74 yards against BYU last week. Didn't play against Oklahoma State in the opener. Long count. Benny with the ball for the first time. Pulls his way down to the 25 and a Washington first down. Gary McGuire from the inside linebacking position from Silsbee, Texas, makes the stop for the Houston Cougars.
Little handoff to Finney here. We must have had a good block by Sandusky. There he is making a good block. Good run by Finney.
Sandusky playing against a guy by the name of T.J. Turner. Pretty good ball player, number 95, and you keep your eye on him. Good look at Rick Fenny. This is Benny's first action since early the Oklahoma State game. 1st and 10 for Washington. Ball now at the Houston 25. Millen's going to keep. Millen gets across the 20 to the 18. I think that was a broken play, and I think his running back just fell down on the play. Tripped just a little bit, so Millen tucked it away and ran to the left side and picks up 7 yards on the play. So the Huskies on the move. This is the first time they've had the football. They trail by a score of 3-0. We're in the first quarter with 9:29 to play here at the Astrodome in Houston. You haven't heard, the game started late because the baseball game ran long today. Darryl Franklin in the ball game now, split out wide to the right. Lonzel Hill to the left. 2nd, the short 4. Down across the 15 to near the 14-yard line. T.J. Turner making the stop. And that's Vince Weathersby, number 22. Here's a look at it again.
Just a toss sweep to Weathersby. We get a good lead block here by Finney, kicking out the contained man. Weathersby cuts back up inside and makes a few yards. Good play.
3rd, and they say his knee went down just short of the 15. I thought he was across the 15 near the 14, so it's going to bring up 3rd down for Washington. Huskies facing their first 3rd down of the ball game. Houston Cougars dig in. Fourier, the man in motion. And up to Weathersby. Hit right at the 15, and I'm not sure he got across to pick up the first down or not.
I think that was Finney carrying the ball there, Bruce. I believe they were in their short yardage. No, yeah, Finney, right.
Yeah, Finney, and tell you, it is hard to see from where we are right now.
They had Covington at fullback and leading the way, and a good play by Finney.
Brings up 4th down.
Oh, they didn't make it.
They didn't make it.
No.
So Washington now facing a 4th down. The ball just short of the 15. Finney stays as the up back in the eye. Should mention Covington's in. 3 tight ends in the ball game for Washington. Not sure there wasn't movement on the left side. And it's going to cost Washington 5, and I'm sure Don James then's going to turn around and say, we'll kick the field goal. Jager's coming on the field right now. Movement from the left tackle position, or the left end position, really, for Washington.
Looked like Lance Fourier was moving, or was that 82?
So the Huskies had their problems right then. Scott Jones in the ball game, I think, was the man who moved on the play.
That's too bad. They had a good drive going, and
ball will be placed down now on the 27-yard line. Chris Chandler in the hole, and Jeff Jager to kick. Jager had a 48-yarder last week against BYU in Provo, just to tie the ball game. Good placement. Kicks up. Looks good, and it is. So all at once it is tied 3-3 as Jeff Jager kicks the field goal. Washington 3 and Houston 3 back at the Astrodome in just a moment. Jeff Jager kicks a 37-yard field goal. The Huskies go 38 yards in 6 plays. 3:21 off the clock to score and tie it. A score of 3-3. 7:59 to play here in the first quarter in Houston. Jeff Jager to kick it off for Washington. Huskies, as you'd mentioned, had a good drive going. They faced a third and about a yard and just couldn't pick up the first down. Then they had a penalty and finally had to settle for the field goal. But one impressive thing, I guess, if you're a Husky fan, is the fact that they moved the ball. But again, very difficult to get in the end zone, and Washington has yet to score a touchdown in the last 6 quarters. Coming into this one, this would be 7. Long kick taken by Ketchum. Anthony Ketchum will down it in the end zone, and Houston will put it in play. 1st and 20 there. 1st and 10, I should say, at the 20. Here's Harry Sloan.
First, the Husky defense taking the field now. Skip Hall, the defensive linebacker coach, told them that he liked their intensity on that first series. He said they're going to make some adjustments on the option, and they should contain that. He said if they keep hitting as hard as they're hitting now, that ball is going to come loose. We'll see how much they learn on that first series right now. Back up to you.
Young kids in there, young players in that linebacker spot. 46, Tom Erlison. David Rill also in there. Landry running his football team, runs the option, pitch to the outside. That's Pearson, and Pearson's going to be bowled out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. Good play by Ronnie Miles coming over. Tony Dominguez, number 89 as well.
This is the option play, and this was well defended by the Huskies here, Bruce. They've got the quarterback, and then Tony Zachary comes up here and makes a nice play on the pitch man. This is the free safety taking the pitch man.
You couldn't see from where we were, but that ball's loose, and Washington has a chance to recover it. But the ball goes out of bounds. So they pick up a yard. Houston picks up a yard on the play. 2nd and 9. The ball on the Houston 21. Pearson and Simmons are the running backs for Houston. That's Larry Shepard in motion. Landry to throw. Looks across the middle. It is in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Giddings. Bernard Giddings had the ball in his hand. He was wide open and just dropped it.
Again, the play action fake off the option. Landry's back. He's looking for Giddings, who's coming across the middle about 15, 20 yards deep. Wide open. Good throw. Just couldn't hang on to it.
One of those where maybe you take your eyes off the ball just as the ball gets there, saying, I'm so wide open, I'm going to be able to run a little bit with it.
A little too anxious.
You're looking now in the Houston huddle. They face 3rd and 9. Landry brings his team to the line of scrimmage. He had a big ball game against Tulsa. 2 for 170 yards. Pitch to the outside. Short of the first down of the 25-yard line is Michael Simmons. So the Huskies close in a hurry on that play, and it'll force Houston to kick the ball away. So the Huskies stop the Houston Cougars with a score tied 3-3 with 7:29 to play here in the first quarter.
That was a good job by the Husky defense. 3 downs, and they're out of the game, and they're going to get pretty good field position here if they get any kind of a punt return.
Ronnie Miles can just fly. He really can. Robert Myers in to kick, 6'2" sophomore out of Dallas. Ronnie Miles standing back on his own 33. Big rush, partially blocked, flags all over the place. Ball bouncing free now at the 40, and it'll finally be down about the 40, make it close to the 45-yard line, at the 44. But the flags all over the place. We'll see what the call is. Here's Meyer back to kick now. Huskies a big rush.
Number 4, Allen, comes in from the right side and got his hands on that.
But Washington offside on the play, and it's going to cost them 5, and very close to a first down. Very, very close to a first down.
I'm sorry, that was number 4, Malone, I believe, that got his hands on that.
The officials now deciding where they're going to mark the ball. Ball moves from the 25 up to the 30, and it's good enough for the first down. So that's one of those penalties that's just been plaguing Washington this year. They get a team in a
offside penalty
difficult situation.
Washington.
Happened against BYU, happens here. They're out of the drive, and now they give it away. So Houston back in the ball game. Not a big crowd here, as you see, not a sellout. Expected somewhere between 20 and 25 for this ball game. As Harry Sloan mentioned at the start of the telecast, that not a lot of interest in Houston Cougar football down here. Shepard in motion, left of the screen. Landry with the ball, pitches it wide, fumble, ball still loose. I think Houston got it back. That was Simmons fumbling the football. And Bestie Jackson was right there for Washington, but Simmons just going to fall on the ball. Now watch this. This is what happens when you run.
It's a good play by Hadley on the quarterback, and then Tim Peoples is coming up on the pitch man. He gets blocked, but he gets up and he's in a position to make the play. You know, we talked about earlier about what gives coaches gray hairs, Bruce. The Huskies have had 2 critical penalties here so far that I'm sure Don James added a few gray hairs there so far.
2nd and 6. Ball at the 34. Landry to throw, going to be hit just as he throws it. He's complete at midfield. That's complete to...
The Huskies get a little pressure on Landry here, coming in from the left side.
That's LeBlanc.
But he hits LeBlanc over the middle. They're running a lot of patterns over the middle, a lot of crossing patterns. See, what you do with that option is you hold those linebackers in with those fakes into the line, and that opens up that middle zone for you. They're taking advantage of this.
1st and 10 at midfield. 5:56 to play, first quarter. Score tied 3-3. Hand up over the right side to the 45 to the 44-yard line is Pearson, Matt Pearson. He's the 5'11", 200-pound junior from Terrell, Texas. And Pearson had 8 carries for 57 yards and then lost to Tulsa a couple of weeks ago. Running well here tonight. Huskies trying to dig in now to try to stop this drive. It's going to bring up 2nd and 4. Pearson so far 5 carries for 20 yards in the game. Simmons 4 for 15. LeBlanc in motion. Outside to Pearson again. He's going to be hit and down right there. Dominguez in on the play. Tony Dominguez of the Huskies. He's 6'4", 220 out of Portland, 1-year Letterman.
Good play by Tony. He's a great athlete. He's, like you say, 6'4", 220, a big guy that can really run. And he's made 2 good plays over there so far tonight on that option play. 2 excellent plays.
Loss of a yard in a play brings up 3rd and 7 at the 46. 4:53 to play here in the first quarter. The Cougars 3 and the Huskies 3. Hilton in motion. Good play by Erlinson, the inside linebacker for Washington, and the loss is going to be back.
They have a mix-up here in the backfield, right, and and Erlinson, I don't know if Erlinson was blitzing or he just decided to come through there when he saw the play developing slowly, but he made a good play for a loss at a good time.
Ball back at midfield, and Houston's going to have to kick it away. Robert Myers in to kick. Had the last one partially blocked, but the Huskies were offside. Low pass from center. Here comes Washington again. Almost get it this time. A long kick that's going to bounce out of bounds inside the 10. You go at the 8-yard line.
You go back to that penalty on 4th down, and you see the amount of field position that the Huskies lost because of that penalty. They would have.
So Washington 3 and the Houston Cougars 3, and we'll be back at the Astrodome in Houston right after this. He's still in the first quarter with 4:02 to play. And you're looking at Bill Yeoman, the Houston coach. This is his 24th year here. Had great success. He's taken his team to 4 Cotton Bowls in 9 years, Southwest Conference. Vince Weathersby to the outside, takes it across the 10 to the 12-yard line. It's going to bring up 2nd and 7 at that point. Weathersby, young kid out of Los Angeles, California, out of Dorsey High School, the redshirt freshman, 5'11", 192, came in for David Toy, and they felt that this young man, Weathersby, just ran with the football so well that they wanted to get a chance to see him start and play, and I'm sure they're pleased with what he's done so far. Huskies 2nd and 7 at that point. Weathersby again. Tries to get around the corner and fights his way for maybe a yard and gets the ball to near the 13-yard line. So he'll pick up only a yard on the play. So now it is 3rd and 5 for Washington at their own 13.
Huskies need to get a first down here, Bruce, so they can get field position.
Number 68, Garth Thomas, 65, Soldat. They make up the left side of that Washington offensive line. The fullback is Rick Fenny in his first start since the Oklahoma State game. Millen to throw. Second pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Rod Jones, the tight end. Good defensive play by Gary McManus, the junior out of Dallas.
Trying to hit Rod Jones on a crossing route about 8 yards depth. Excellent play by the cornerback coming up on that. Good reaction to the football.
4th down, and Thane Cleland will come in to kick it away for Washington. So the Huskies going to have to give up the football. Cleland averaging 43 yards a kick so far this year. Thane's the junior from Lake Oswego, Oregon. Larry Shepard standing back on about the 45-yard line. And whistle blows again, and timeout's called by Houston. They were a man short on the line. So Thane Cleland comes over, talks to the coaches, to Don James on the sideline. We'll be back in Houston right after this. Now at Bill Yeoman, look at that record, 155, 92, and 8. 24th season is Houston, we mentioned earlier. Huskies now to kick it away. The ball at the 13-yard line. And that's Jeff Jager standing back in his own end zone. Larry Shepard, Orsby Crenshaw back near midfield. High kick. Fair catch by Crenshaw. Is going to be taken at the 47-yard line of Houston. So the Cougars have put it in play right there. Interesting couple of scores in the Pac-10 for you. You haven't heard Arizona over Cal today by a score of 23-17. And Oregon defeated Stanford in a wild game, 45-28. Nebraska defeated Illinois also earlier today, 52-25. You're looking now into the huddle of the Houston Cougars. That's Landry, number 3, coming in to call the play. They have a great tight end, Carl Hilton, 6'4", 233. If you see 84 there, he is a good football player. In the bottom of your screen, in motion to the right. Shepard, handoff straight ahead on the left side to Simmons. And Simmons just gets about 4 yards. He just bulls his way straight ahead to the Washington 48. Pretty good blocking behind Shoppy, the center. Shoppy's 6'5", 265, out of Deer Park, Texas, a 2-year letterman, one of their co-captains. So now it's going to bring up 2nd and 6 at the 48. 2:20 to play here in the first quarter. Score tied. Houston 3 and Washington 3. Landry looking over a Husky defense. Andy Fuimaono, the left side of your screen. Defensive line, number 64. Landry back. Big rush by Washington. Bo Yates is there. Fuimaono is there. And Landry goes back in his own territory all the way back to about the 43-yard line.
Well, they brought Bo Yates, the outside linebacker, here in a blitz. And Landry doesn't see him until it's a little bit too late. They must have had a foul up in their blocking scheme because nobody even touched Yates.
So the ball now back at near the 43 at the 44-yard line. 3rd and 14 for the Houston Cougars. Landry so far in the ball game throwing the football is 1 of 4 for 16 yards. Shepard was the player in motion. Here comes Landry. Flag flies. Reggie Rogers makes the tackle, number 51 for Washington.
Good play by Reggie. Sat right there on the line of scrimmage and tackled the quarterback Landry as he came down the line.
Landry picked up only a yard on the play. Ooh. Offside Washington again. That's 2 key 3rd down offside penalties against Washington so far in the ball game. And Skip Hall on the sideline talking to number 89, Tony Dominguez.
You know, the Huskies are substituting.
Offside, still 3rd down.
The Huskies are substituting linebackers. Bruce, they've got about 3 schemes that they use on defense, and depending upon what scheme or what call they're in, they will substitute a linebacker accordingly.
They keep changing up. I think they're playing that 2-5 right now. Landry looking, throws to the outside. Great catch by Shepard. Good for the first down at the ball at the 31-yard line.
That was
Larry Shepard just made a great catch. He's a senior out of Kilgore, Texas.
That was a great catch. We had Hadley in his face and pretty good coverage over there by Peoples and Jackson. Good throw by Landry.
So Houston picks up the first down. Play covers 19 yards. First and 10. The ball marked at the 32. Houston on the move. They jump offside, going to cost them 5. A couple of players just missed the count. But Landry saying, wait a minute, it was a defensive player that pulled them offside. Burleson in there along with David Rill, inside linebacker, and they say it's going to be against Houston. Yep. So it will cost Houston 5 yards. Yeoman upset by the play. Coming in the ball game from the sideline for Houston is Ketchum. Comes in at a wide receiver position. Now it's first and 15, a ball at the 37.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. Still first down.
1:04 to play in the first quarter. Washington 3 and Houston 3. Houston 0-1 coming into this game, losing 31-24 to Tulsa a couple of weeks ago. Now they've had an extra week to get ready for the ball game. Inside, big hole, breaks the tackle, spins away, and that's Simmons, Michael Simmons. Simmons short of the first down by about 4 yards, however.
This is the inside dive off the option. It might have been a little bit of a trap. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. But there was a big hole for Simmons. Good play by Zachary making the tackle from the free safety position.
Now it is 2nd and 3. The ball at the 25. Just short of the 25. 29 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Handoff on the right side on the option. Across the 22 to the 21, and they'll pick up the first down on the play. That's Sloan Hood in the ball game for the first time. 7 carries for 32 yards a couple of weeks ago. Sloan Hood had 22 carries for 112 yards. Remember him? Okay, against Washington in 1984. I'm not sure they're going to get another play underway. Ketchum comes back in a ball game for Bill Yeoman's football team. 3-3 tie here in the first quarter. Houston taking plenty of time in the line of scrimmage. Landry called this play in a hurry. This will be the end of the first quarter. The ball now at the Washington 21. Landry going to keep. Pitches to the outside. Simmons breaking tackles and takes it down inside the 10 to the 6-yard line.
That was just an excellent play by Landry right here because he's about to get tackled. He almost falls down, and he pitches the ball out here to Simmons. Nobody on him. I don't know what happened to the guy that had pitch responsibility. That Landry's a good athlete.
On the last play of the first quarter, Houston moves into scoring position. Simmons, 7 carries for 46 yards. Matt Pearson has 6 carries for 18 in that Houston backfield. So that's the end of the first quarter. Houston 3 and Washington 3. We welcome you back to Houston. You see the score is tied between Washington and Houston, but the Houston Cougars are in scoring position. They're inside the Washington 10 at the 6-yard line. They have first down and goal to go. Washington defense trying to dig in. Landry, handoff left side. Simmons fights his way to about the 3. So Simmons gets down to the 3-yard line. It's going to bring up second down, goal to go from there. 8 carries for 48 yards for Michael Simmons so far. Looking in that Husky defensive line, Husky defensive huddle. That's Rill right there. Bo Yates coming back in the ball game. Erlinson also there.
Simmons is a pretty impressive player for a second-team player.
Jim Matthews, the nose guard. This is his first start. 2nd and goal, just short of the 3. Big pile on the right side. Sloan Hood takes the ball down to the 2. And it will bring up now 3rd and goal to go from there.
They're trying to run the option down here.
I'll tell you what. I missed the ball because I thought the ball went all the way to the 2, and so did a lot of Huskies and the cameraman as well.
Bo Yates made a nice play. Number 3.
Take the ball out now to the 7. Where it is 3rd and goal to go at the 7.
be a good time for a blitz. Let's see what they do. No, they didn't do it.
Landry to throw. Looks in the corner of the end zone. Has a man open. Touchdown, Houston, to Michael Simmons. Little swing pass to the outside for Houston. Landry to Michael Simmons, and Simmons was wide open. Watch this.
Looks like they were in a man coverage, Bruce, and it looked like Erlinson responsible for covering Simmons, and he was just a little bit slow. One step slow, probably held a little bit by the option fake right there. Yep, that's what happened. Slowed down just a little bit to worry about the dive fake, and then he was a little bit behind Simmons as he came out on the flat and catch the pass.
Brondike in to add the extra point. Ball down, and the kick is up and good, and it's in Houston 10 and Washington 3 with 13:40 to play here in the second quarter. Houston goes 52 yards on 9 plays to score in 4:05. 7-yard pass from Landry to Simmons to put the Houston Cougars up by a score of 10-3 over the Washington Huskies. And as I mentioned a moment ago, 13:40 to play here in the second quarter. The Huskies still looking for their first touchdown in 7 quarters now. This would be the 8th quarter that they haven't scored a touchdown. They were blanked in the second half against Oklahoma State. They got only 3 points against BYU, and they only 3 points here in the first quarter against Houston. Brondike to kick it off. Long kick. Going to be taken by Lonzel Hill. He's at the 10, crosses the 15 to about the 18-yard line.
I think that was Franklin, Bruce. Number 7.
It was Daryl Franklin.
Yeah.
Franklin with the ball out to near the 18-yard line. 1st and 10 for Washington there. Bearden making the stop for the Houston Cougars.
Well, the Huskies need to get something going right here in this drive. They need to take it down there and get a touchdown. They need some confidence both offensively and defensively at this point.
Hugh Millen with his wide receivers put out wide to the right. Going to be hit on a blitz. That's the big guy, T.J. Turner. T.J. Turner just came crashing through on the right side to down Hugh Millen. And about the 13-yard line. Nobody blocked him at all.
It's easy to make a big play when nobody touches you.
T.J. Turner.
Obviously a mix-up in the offensive blocking scheme.
6'4",
nobody touched him.
281. Huskies lose 5 on the play. 2nd and 15. Ball back at the 13-yard line. Rick Finney bounces off of a tackler and then takes the ball up for about a yard gain to near the 16. And that was Randy Thornton that made the defensive play for the Houston Cougars.
It's a good effort by Finney because he gets hit here initially by Harper. A fine hit, good play, and Finney just lowers his shoulder and keeps going. Didn't make a lot of yards, but it was a good effort on his part. Good second effort.
Rick Finney so far 3 carries for 12 yards in the game. Now 3rd down for Washington. 3rd and long 12 at the 15. Millen to throw. Throwing to the outside. Man short of the first down is Daryl Franklin. And it disappointed and disgusted Daryl Franklin because he was very close to the first down marker, but he comes up about a yard short.
You don't like to get in those 3rd and 12 situations, but at least by completing the pass for about 10 yards, they gained a little bit of field position. And if we can get a good kick here by Cleveland, hopefully it'll give Houston a long way to go.
Horsby Crenshaw back there along with Larry Shepard. Thane Cleveland to kick it for Washington. He's standing back on his 13. The fake kick. Ball to the left side and out of bounds at midfield for Washington is Aaron Jenkins. I never thought you'd see a Don James football team do that, huh?
That's a gutsy call at this time of the game. Here it is right here. It's off the punt, a fake play. They snap the ball to Jenkins, who's the up back, the fullback in that play, and he made a good yardage, good game for the first down.
Now he ran out of bounds. We could see across the way, but they said his foot was out of bounds much shorter than that at about the 37-yard line.
That's a good call by Don. That's a good job right there. They needed something like that.
Washington gets it. 1st and 10 there. Rod Jones in motion to the right. He sets up on the line of scrimmage. Joe Franklin drops off. Millen back to throw. Goes over the middle, complete to his tailback. Vince Weathersby picks up about 3 on the play. Robert Harper making this stop for Houston.
There's the run off the fake punt.
Now he has the first down now. There's where the foot goes out of bounds.
Right there.
2nd and 7 for Washington. The ball at the 40. 11:42 to play here in the second quarter. Hugh Millen, former Roosevelt High School star. Rick Fenny straight ahead for the first down, up across the 50 to the 47-yard line. Takes the ball to the Houston 47. So the Huskies pick up another first down. As you said, maybe that little fake punt's going to get them moving here.
Well, something like that gives you a little spark. Get you that first down, get you good field position, get you enthusiastic, and hey, may help them out right here. Get him down, get him some points.
1st and 10 for Washington at the 47. 11:19 to play. The Houston 47. 11:19 to play here in the second quarter. Left to the outside. Weathersby trips and falls as he gets back to near midfield, but he'll lose about 5 on the play. He'll take the ball back to the Washington 48. So Weathersby loses 5. Really wasn't much out there anyway. Dale Franklin comes back in the ball game for Washington. Huskies trail 10-3 here in the second quarter from Houston. 75 on your screen a moment ago. Mike Sendowski, the red shirt freshman. Millen 4-4 for 34 yards. Zips it to the outside. Is it complete? Great catch at the 30. Excellent catch for Washington at the 30 by Darrell Franklin.
Washington's in their 3 wide receiver offense. Oh, that was a heck of a catch by Frank. Good throw by Millen also.
1st and 10 for Washington now on the Houston 30. Millen now 5 of 5 for 55 yards. Changes for the Huskies. Mark Larson goes in the ball game. Garth Thomas is out. The left guard position. Jones in motion. Trumbull drops off. Weathersby to the 25. Weathersby to the 23. Vince Weathersby picks up about 7 on the play.
Little draw play here to Weathersby out of the I formation. This guy's strong. He's not very big, but watch him right here. Bap! He lowers those shoulders and knocks both those guys back a little bit. He's a tough kid, tough runner.
Weathersby so far 5 carries for 24 yards in the ball game. 2nd and 3 for Washington. Straight ahead and over the top is Rick Fenny, and he'll pick up the first down as he takes the ball to the 18. So Fenny picks up the first down for Washington.
I said Weathersby wasn't very big. He's 5'11", 203. That's pretty good stats.
He doesn't look that big. There's so many big people out there. The ball at the 18. The Houston 18. Houston leads it by a score of 10-3. We're in the second quarter. The Astrodome in Houston. Crowd quieting down just a little bit. Jones in motion to the left. Gets up the line of scrimmage. Wide receiver on the left side. Pulls back. 4 men in the backfield. Weathersby, left side, looking for a block. Runs head on into a defensive player at the 15-yard line. And that's Robert Jones at 6'1", 187. That sophomore out of Blanco, Texas. He's the strong safety.
Again, it's a toss sweep to Weathersby to the left side. Notice number 71, Larson, out in front. They pull that onside guard, the left guard. He gets out in front and blocks down one of the contained people. That's tough on those defensive backs when you see that big 6'5", 265-pound offensive lineman coming out there.
9th play in the drive. Ball at the 15, 2nd and 7. Millen rolling out. Still looking. Tuck it under his arm and run. Hit right at the 15. Takes it just across the 15 near the 14. And Hugh Millen upset with himself that time, and he couldn't pick up more on the play.
I'll tell you what he was trying to do here, Bruce. He was trying to hit Finney in the flat. You can't see Finney, but he's in the left side of the screen. He's looking for him, and number 21 had him covered. They were in a man coverage, so he had to pull it down and run. There's Finney right there trying to block. He was the primary receiver on that play in the flat.
Greg Purcell on the left corner was number 21 up making the play. Hugh Millen sends on 3rd and 7 at the 14. Looks over the middle, throws. It is complete right at the first down marker to Vince Weathersby. And that's very, very close to the marker. And I'm not sure that's first down or not. It's going to be awful close. I think they're going to have to come over and measure this.
Excellent protection. 3rd and 7. I believe he got it. Yep.
By about the length of the football. Here's a shot again from the end zone, and you'll see Weathersby keeping his hand on the ball, gets a foot down.
Does a good job of staying in bounds, keeping his feet in bounds.
So the Huskies have it 1st and goal to go at the 8. They trail by 7. Millen, long count. Finney to the goal line and just short of the goal line. He stopped on about the 1-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 1. Huskies make some changes now as they bring in a couple of more tight ends.
Finney doesn't look like he's hurt anymore, does he?
Certainly doesn't. They said, he was coming back 80-90%. He looks 100% now.
They need this guy in their offense. This guy's really something.
3 tight ends in the ball game. 2nd and goal at the 1. Finney, left side from the tailback spot. He runs into the end zone. Washington scores. So Rick Finney from the 1 puts Washington on the scoreboard with 7:13 to play here in the 2nd quarter.
When they go into their goal line offense, they put Finney at tailback and Covington at fullback. And Covington, number 39 there, made an excellent block.
Rick Finney finally scores a Washington touchdown. Jaeger in to add the extra point out of the hole of Chris Chandler. Huskies move 82 yards in 11 plays in 6:22. Make it 12 plays to score on the 1-yard run. So Jaeger now with an opportunity to tie it at 10-10.
A little run off the fake punt turned out pretty good, didn't it?
Really did. Kicks up. It's good, and it is tied at 10. Washington 10 and Houston 10 with 7:13 to play here in the 2nd quarter.
Shot of the touchdown play again. Again, in this goal line offense, they put Finney at tailback with Covington, another fullback, as the lead blocker. They want as much beef and power in that backfield as they can down here in the goal line. Covington does a great job of blocking, as did number 71 Larson leading the play. And a good run by Finney. Good drive by the Huskies.
Rick Finney scores. It is tied 10-10. You're looking now at Ketchum in the end zone. He's one of the kickoff returners, Anthony Ketchum, along with Earl Allen. Jeff Jaeger, who just tied it at 10. He will kick it off. Washington back in the ball game. First time they've scored a touchdown now in 8 quarters. And it was very happy Washington bench. Ball down about 3 yards deep in the end zone, and Houston will put it in play 1st and 10 at their own 20. So Washington finally getting on the scoreboard with a good drive. And as you had mentioned, Jim, it was the fake punt. And I think at that time, as we were talking, that they needed something. And they got it right then. Number of plays 12, 82 yards. 6:22 off the clock, and that 1-yard run by Finney. The fake punt
seemed to give him a little spark, didn't it?
It really did. They needed something. So Landry now faced with trying to move his ball club. Hilton in motion. Landry's going to keep. Cut back. Still on his feet. He gets to the 26. Picks up 6 yards on the play. It'll bring up now 2nd and 4 for Houston. Gerald Landry. He's the junior, the 2-year letterman out of Beaumont, Texas. He didn't really run with the ball inside that much. You'll see him run to the outside a lot more. He can throw it pretty well. 14 of 25 a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa in their opener. This is the home opener for the Houston Cougars. They were the Southwest Conference champions last year, and they played in the Cotton Bowl. Handoff on the left-hand side. Hit awfully hard was Sloan Hood. Make it Simmons.
Yeah, Bo Yates makes a real nice play right here. See him slashing through right there for the play. Reggie Rogers is in good position, as is Tony Dominguez. It takes time to adjust to this option. You try to get a good look in practice, and you just can't get it from a scout team, and you really don't see it as it's really run until game time, and it takes time, especially for a bunch of young linebackers like the Huskies have.
Huskies up in that 2-down lineman and 5 linebacker configuration right now. Flip to the outside. It is complete to Larry Shepard. He's knocked out of bounds, going to be short of the 1st down marker on 3rd and 4. It's going to bring up 4th down for Houston, and a Husky defense holds, and Houston's going to have to kick it away.
That's a good series for the Husky defense. That'll give them a little bit of confidence.
Robert Myers standing back now at the 15 to kick for the Houston Cougars with a score tied 10-10. Ron Milas, who has come very, very close last two games. Almost blocked by Washington. Milas straight ahead. He's going to take it, tries to break the tackle, tries to spin away. He's still on his feet, fighting at the 40. That's going to be down there.
They put the rush on here, and Tim Peoples came scot-free through the middle of the line.
The score, Washington 10 and Houston 10 with 5:45 to play in the second quarter. We'll be back at the Astrodome right after this. Washington 10, Houston 10. Huskies with the ball now, 1st and 10 on their own 41. Trying to break a 10-10 tie here. Hugh Millen with a hot hand. He's 6 of 6 for 61 yards so far. Finney and Weathersby, the running back for Washington. Millen to throw again. Looks back, trying to set up a screen. Gets one block. That's Weathersby, still on his feet to about the 43-yard line. Picks up a couple of yards on the play. It's got to be 2nd and 8 for Washington there. Earl Allen was the man making the stop from the right corner position. He's only 5'9", 181, a senior out of Houston.
What the Huskies did here, Bruce, they put both wide receivers on the same side as the tight end on the left side, and then off a play-action fake through the screen back to Weathersby, back to the weak side of the short side. Trying to get that Houston defense overshifted.
Vince Weathersby, Dorsey High School in Los Angeles. Redshirt freshman, first start at Washington. Weathersby with the football. Ducks underneath. A defensive player makes a fine play as he gets the ball up across the 45 to the 46-yard line. You know, picks up a couple, but good run.
Very good run.
A couple of
Very
yards.
good run. You know, one of the marks of a good back is how many yards you make after you get hit the first time. And he got hit there, back there at the line of scrimmage or behind, and still picked up a couple yards.
First down at first quarter. 8 first downs for Houston, only 2 for Washington. See the difference. Yards rushing 61 to 32. Huskies on the move, however, right now. Facing third. And a long 4. Millen to throw. Millen looking, got a man open. It is Lonzel Hill at the 30 and out of bounds. Mo Hill, an excellent catch on the play. He beats Robert Jones, the free safety on that side.
That was a great throw by Hugh. They had their 3 wide receivers in, and Lonzel was on the outside on the left. On the right side of the screen, Houston was in a 2-deep coverage. They stretched the zones. One of the weaknesses of the 2-deep is that outside deep zone where he tried to hit him. It's hard for 2 safeties to cover the width of the field.
Franklin comes in for Lonzel Hill. He and Trimble are split out wide to the right. Trimble in motion to the left. Millen, 8 for 8 now. Pitch back to Weathersby. Away from one tackler and not much there. He gets only a yard on the play and takes the ball to the 29. Make it 2nd and 9 at the 29. 4:10 to play here in the second quarter. Washington 10 and Houston 10.
As you mentioned, Bruce, Millen is hot. He's 8 for 8 for 87 yards. Has a lot of zip on the ball, very accurate, getting some time to throw, looks real good.
Bill Yeoman now working with his defense, trying to get Washington stopped. Huskies fired up. Trimble in motion left. Up back is Weathersby. Here's Millen. Going to be rushed. Gets the ball away to Weathersby. He's run out of bounds at the 29. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Flag goes back, way back at the left near midfield, and Hugh Millen points to the defensive player, and that's T.J. Turner, and I think they had a couple of words back there.
What they did here again, they're throwing a screen back to Weathersby. They're getting the flow going one way, and they're coming back with the screen to Weathersby, and it's working pretty well for them. I think they had a roughing the passer call.
And it was back about 20 yards away from the ball.
Yeah, he'd thrown it and had a lot of time and got hit late.
T.J. Turner, here it is.
Right
now
there.
you see it right
it's
here.
T.J., yeah.
And here he's going to get rid of the ball. And T.J. just keeps right on coming. It's going to finally knock him down. And it's going to cost him some yardage.
I think that had T.J., as soon as he got rid of the ball, if he'd laid off of him right there, they wouldn't have called it. But I think he grabbed him and threw him down. And, of course, they're going to try to protect that quarterback.
First down for Washington at the 19. The Houston 19, and Huskies call timeout as Millen comes over now to talk with Don James, rest of the coaching staff. 3:35 to go here in the first quarter. Score tied 10-10. Washington against Houston. The Huskies looking for their first win of the year. They open with a loss. You see Bill Yeoman over on the side talking with the official, trying to get an explanation of that. And I think you were right, Jim, in saying if he'd have backed away from him just for a moment, tried not to grab him and pull him down, that would have been it.
The things the officials look for on roughing the passer is, one, if you go for the head, if you hit the quarterback up high above the shoulders in the head area, they're going to throw the flag, or if it's a flagrant late hit. As soon as that ball's gone, all you got to do is pull off a little bit. It really doesn't affect your rush in any way.
Millen brings his team to the line of scrimmage. Ball at the 14. First and 10 at the 14. Rick Fenny trying to break tackle. Spins his way to the 7. Picks up 7 yards on the play. Fenny just a load. You know, Rick Fenny's a big guy. It's 6'3", 235 out of Snohomish. Now look at this. Bang, he runs right through one there.
He's starting wide, then he's cutting back a little bit, and Houston's overrunning the play somewhat, and they're getting a good block there from Soldat and from Garth Thomas.
Robert Jones was the guy who finally made the stop on the play. And they send a big guy right up the middle again, and he gets the ball down near the 5-yard line.
Here they come with their short yardage. They're going to put Covington at fullback and Finney at tailback again with the 3 tight ends in the ballgame.
3rd and a yard. There's a look at the Astrodome here in Houston. You can see there are a lot of empty seats. Not a lot of people here, and a quiet crowd through the second quarter because Houston hadn't been doing very much. Third and a yard for Washington. Benny, left side, has the first down and a little bit more. Takes the ball across the 4, and it should be just good enough for the first down.
This is just power football up the middle, Bruce, with Covington as the lead blocker, the left side of the line, knocking people back, and Finney slamming up and in there for the necessary yardage for a first down.
Husky fans over to our left, not too many of them here. Up a little cheer. So now it is first down, goal to go at the 4. Finney, 10 carries for 45 yards in the ballgame. Say the 1,300 Husky fans here for the ballgame. First down, goal to go at the 4 for Washington. 1:45 to play here in the second quarter. Millen rolling back. Look, and he's getting chased. He throws into the end zone. Almost picked off. It was intended for Scott Jones, and it was almost picked off by Israel Martin in the end zone. Look at this.
A little bootleg action here off the toss sweep. He had Finney and Covington going to the right. He faked the toss and came back the other way, looking for the crossing receiver. Good defensive play by Houston. Had it well defended, well covered.
Second down, goal to go from the 4. 1:36 to play. Second quarter, 10-10 tie. Poirier tight end in motion left. Rick Fenny, left side, looking for a block. He's at the 1 and knocked out of bounds there. See, his foot went out at the 2. Up there was Kenneth Blunson to knock him out of bounds.
Okay, this is the toss sweep play, the one they just faked the last play and ran the bootleg from, and here they did hand it or toss it to Finney. Get a good block by number 68 and by Covington, and close to getting in the end zone.
McGuire over to make the play, and an excellent defensive play.
Good job by Garth Thomas on that one, leading the way.
Third down, goal to go at the 2.
Big play here. Need to get this one in.
1:31 to play, second quarter. Fenny straight ahead, hits at the line of scrimmage and gets to the 1. Well, he picks up about a half a yard in the play, and here comes Jeff Jaeger. Houston fans, they love it, and they're on their feet. Jaeger will come in. Washington can't get into the end zone. They stopped 3 plays inside the 5.
What you try to do defensively in the goal line is you try to get penetration from your defensive line, and offensively you don't want to let them get penetration, and Houston got the penetration that time and tripped up the ball carrier. You can't allow penetration on the goal line or in short yardage situations.
Chandler will hold. Jeff Jaeger will kick. The ball will be placed down at the 9. 19-yard field goal. Tough angle to the right. Kick is up, and it's good. Drills it to the uprights. And Washington leads Houston by a score of 13-10 with 46 seconds to play here in the second quarter. So the Huskies go over, talk to the bench now, and try to talk about that offensive series and what they want to do now on this kickoff against Houston, and see if they can stop Houston before the half ends. Washington 13, Houston 10, and I got a little surprised that maybe Washington threw on that first play. Were you, Jim?
Yeah, I was.
I thought they might try to power it right up the line.
I thought they'd take 3 plays trying to run it in, and I thought they probably would have made it.
11 plays, they go 57 yards and 5:01 to get the 3 points from Jeff Jaeger. Millen, incidentally, now 9 of 11 in the ball game for 88 yards. He had 8 straight at one time. Fenney, 12 carries for 48 yards. Huskies leading 13-10. The rally squad. Halftime entertainment here with the Houston band coming up. We got a special guest coming up at halftime for you in just a moment. Anthony Ketchum, Earl Allen back in the end zone as Jaeger's set to kick it off. With 46 seconds to play here in the half. High, long kick. Back corner of the end zone where Ketchum takes the ball, and Houston will put it in play 1st and 10 at their own 20. Good kick that time by Jeff Jaeger. There you see, Huskies run 5:01 off the clock. They'd love to have a touchdown right then, but they settle for the 3, and they lead it by a score of 13-10.
They are moving the ball, Bruce. They're doing a good job running the football, mixing up their calls.
So Houston comes to the line of scrimmage now, knowing the time's running out here in the first half. Landry looking over his football team. He's going to keep. Could have been a broken play. Trying to run to the outside. He picks up 4 on the play and takes it out to 24 before he's run out of bounds.
I was kind of interested to see if they would, try to put it in the air and get something out of this drive, or if they just were content to keep it on the ground and go in at halftime down 13-10. That did look like a busted play, though.
40 seconds to go. Giddings comes in with the play. He splits out wide to the left. Simmons and Pearson are running back. Landry cuts it inside. Good run by Landry. Dominguez hits him there. Takes the ball across the 30 to the 32. Picks up the first down.
See, Ospley, again, you get that defense running for that pitch man, running for that sideline. You have a tendency to over-pursue. Right there, Tony Dominguez, who has the quarterback responsibility, makes a fine play. Had a lead blocker on him. He shed the blocker and made the play on the quarterback.
Washington's got a player down at the 34. And it could be Tony Dominguez.
Yeah.
Landry, 7 rushes for 10 yards so far in the ball game. And it is Dominguez who is down. He's down at about the 32. You're looking in the Houston huddle right now. They trail by a score of 13-10. Here's Harry Sloan on the sideline.
The defense, you saw it in that last play, how they quickly recovered to get to the ball. Comfortable is the word Skip Hall used in how they're beginning to feel now against this option. Dominguez is still down at this hour. Now he says that if we can just pound, the big play will come, the turnover will come. And so that's what they're looking for right now that they think they have the option figured out. Right now, they're attending to Tony Dominguez. He's down. He's been a big play guy so far this game. Hopefully he'll be all right. Bruce, back up to you.
Yeah, Houston now facing 1st and 10 at the 32, their own 32, with exactly 32 seconds to play here in the half. And it's hard to say what it was. He's leaning over, as you see, as he comes off the field. So Dominguez is helped to the sideline. There he is. And Dennis Seeley on the left, the Husky trainer. So the big guy, Tony Dominguez, comes to the sideline out of Portland, Oregon, 6'4", 220, and he's played a heck of a football game so far for Washington. Andy Fuimaona goes back in. He's the nose guard, and he will play in place of Dominguez because they've been running with 2 down linemen quite a bit of the ball game and 5 linebackers, 5 young linebackers. So here we go. 1st and 10 now at the 32 for Houston. Clock running. Landry back, looking to throw, almost hit, gets away. Still on his feet, going to run. Landry trying to break tackles. He breaks another one. He only picks up 7 yards on the play, but an exciting 7 yards. I think this is going to be the last play of the half. He's up a 2nd down.
Well, they had 9 seconds left on the clock, and they were trying to get the easy touchdown here. Hadley's got good pressure on him, flushes him out of the pocket, and then you'll see Steve Albert here pursuing down the line and has a shot at him, doesn't quite get him, and Landry ends up running the football. They were going for the touch.
Well, the irony of the thing is, they're both, we were offside in the punt, and we were offside on the third down, and we stopped. Again, we're playing better football. We're looking more like a football team if we can just come out and we got to fight hard for 30 more minutes.
Rick Fenny has made a difference in there offensively.
There's no question about it, and both he and Vince Weathersby are really running hard.
And defensively, you've shut down the option game a bit.
Well, it's not over. They're still very exciting, and they're very quick, and we've got our work cut out.
Okay, Don, we'll let you get to the dressing room and visit with the club. Thanks for being
All right, Don James on the sideline, seemingly a little worried, but his team seemed to be responding right now and should come out in the second half ready for action. Bruce, back up to you.
Thank you, Harry. Down there with Keith Shipman from KOMO Radio with Don James here at halftime. The Astrodome in Houston. The score, it is Washington 13 and Houston 10. We'll be back right after this timeout. We welcome you back to the Astrodome in Houston, where Washington leads the Houston Cougars at halftime by a score of 13-10. Been a very interesting first half, and we have what I think is a very interesting halftime guest. And if you're a Washington football fan, you will know this man sitting next to me, even though he lives in Houston. Jim Owens, who is the head football coach, athletic director of Washington, head coach for 18 years. Must be fun for you to get down here with all these Houston fans and look around and say, I'm a Husky. What do you think of that first half?
Oh, I really liked it. I think everybody here, all the fans, were real excited about the way the team's playing. Real pleased that the offense is moving well, and we're playing tougher defense. And I just think it's been real exciting, and thank goodness we're ahead. I'd like to have had that touchdown right there before the halftime. At least we got 3 out of it.
We were talking during the game. We said that fake punt really seemed to turn that offense around, didn't it?
I think so. I think that was the key play. We needed a big boost, and it was a tough call to make, but an excellent call, and that really got us rolling, I think.
You still sit there and kind of think like a coach when you're watching this game, huh?
Oh, a little bit. My son Steve and I are here, and we talk back and forth what we hope they'll do, and sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, but I certainly don't try to coach it. I just enjoy it.
A lot of Husky fans have asked me, what are you doing here in Houston? What's Jim Owens doing here?
Well, our company owns offshore drilling rigs, and we have 11 of them out in the Gulf of Mexico, and fortunately right now we have all of them working, and our headquarters are here in Houston, and so with things slower for us, at least in Alaska and California, it just worked out better for me to be down here in the home office and help out down here. So we're enjoying it a lot.
Jim, thank you very much for coming by, and best of luck to you down here in this Cougar country and all this hot and the heat and everything else.
Well, that's true. I wanted to be sure and say hello to all our, Martha and I, all our Northwest friends, and particularly all my former athletes that I still think a lot about.
Jim, thank you very much. Jim Owens, ex-Husky football coach, there for 18 years. Nice to see you again, Jim.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, score at halftime. It is 13-10. Let's go to the highlights right now of that first half. Jim Moore, come on in here and we'll talk about this. As you see the band on the field from Houston. Now, Houston on the move in the first drive. Landry back to throw. And a big play here early because he's going to get pass interference called against Washington on the play. And it's going to give Houston a chance to get some points on the scoreboard. She said, pretty good call.
Yeah, I thought it was a good call. As I watched it here the second time, though, I don't think it was quite as good as it appeared early. But this sets up their field goal here.
Browndyke kicks the field goal to give Houston an early lead in the ball game by a score of 3-0 and a 42-yard field goal. Houston fans loving this here, but Washington is going to come back and get a field goal. Chandler the hold, Jager the kick, and Washington will tie it at a score of 3-3 in the first quarter. And that's the way the first quarter ended here in the Astrodome in Houston tonight. But Houston gets moving again. Here is Gerald Landry. Little guy is awful quick. Throws into the corner of the end zone and a touchdown, as you see. And Houston now leads it by a score of 10-3.
That's a pretty good play on the goal line. It's a tough play to defend because the option fake holds the linebacker who's responsible for covering the running back coming out of the backfield.
Big play for Washington. They had fourth and a couple of yards. And Aaron Jenkins on a fake punt runs it for a first down. And that got the Washington offense moving. And you see Rick Fenny out of the tailback position. Big guy from Snohomish just bulls his way around the left side and takes it into the end zone to get Washington on the scoreboard. The Huskies add another field goal by Jager, and they lead here at halftime by a score of 13-10. It has been really a pretty good football game. It's good to see a Washington football team come back and play a little bit better than they have over the last two games. And finally get a touchdown because they had gone 7 quarters and into the 8th quarter before they had scored. So Washington leads it now by a score of 13-10 before not the biggest crowd in the world you're ever going to see here. There are about 1,300 Husky fans, as we'd mentioned, at the Astrodome in Houston. You're now looking at the Houston band on the field, and it's been a very enjoyable evening, even though it has taken a while for this game to get underway. As you know, the game was delayed a half hour simply because of a baseball game. The Houston Astros played this afternoon against the Cincinnati Reds, and if that game would have gone on into extra innings, you weren't sure really what time we were going to be on. The record here for a football game starting that was scheduled and underway at 7 was 11:30 at night. This one got underway at 7:30 tonight here in Houston, which was 5:30 your time. Couple of scores for you. 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Baylor leads USC 10-7. Fresno State 30, Oregon State 9 in the fourth quarter. Oregon State's Beavers go into that game with a 2-0 record, and I know a lot of Oregon State fans in Corvallis thought maybe this was going to be the year they could get over Jim Sweeney's football team, and his son's a quarterback on that team for Fresno State. They lead it 30-9. Oregon State led 6-0 early in that ball game. UCLA San Diego State, that's a little bit later. Arizona 23, Cal 17. If you didn't hear, that was the final. California losing the third game in a row, a heartbreaker for them. And Oregon defeats Stanford 45-28. Oregon looking very impressive against the Stanford Cardinal. Also, BYU leads Temple by a score of 7-0 in the second quarter. And later tonight, Arizona State against Pacific. But here, it's the Huskies 13 and the Houston Cougars 10. And we're at the Astrodome in Houston, and we'll be back and have more for you in just a few minutes. But right now, I want to talk just a little bit more about the Astrodome and what happens here. You know, when they play baseball in this place, it takes them, they say 2.5 hours to convert it to football. Now, there's dirt down at the far side of the field, the left side of the field from our broadcast booth over here, which makes it a little difficult to play in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You know, there's a little bit, the receivers and their cuts, the defensive backs in covering receivers, as far as their footage and stuff is concerned, it's a little bit different than it is out on the AstroTurf.
We got Harry Sloan on the sideline right now with an update on Husky injuries. Harry?
Thank you, Bruce. Talking with Dr. Steve Bramwell. Steve, Tony Dominguez got dinged up right towards the end of the first half. What's the prognosis on him?
He's okay, and he's ready to go.
What was the problem?
He got a groin injury and got kicked and was a little sore, but he's fine now.
Garth Thomas, he got his bell rung a little, too.
Yeah, he got his bell rung, but it's minor, and he remembers everything and wants to play, and played that last series, so everybody's go.
That's a very positive sign for the Huskies. They haven't had the best of luck of late.
No, that's the first good news we've had in a long time.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, Bruce, that's about it. I'll have to agree with you on that field, that dirt down at the other end and that board going across the 45-yard line that raises the field about 3 inches. It's not a very good place to play, but the Huskies, well, they seemingly are doing well enough. Let's toss it back up to you.
Thank you, Harry. You know, it's interesting with Kevin Gogan gone and Joe Kelly and Darrell Hall and Ricky Meyer and Albert Tafono and Keelan Matthews all home with injuries, that Huskies getting a little fired up. But if you guys are watching back in Seattle, I can imagine you're getting excited as well. Huskies with 10 first downs to Houston's 9. They have 83 yards rushing to Houston's 76. And the Huskies 8 of 10, the passing department for 87 yards. Landry 4 of 7 for 45 so far in the ball game. And so the Huskies lead in total yards, 170 to 121. Penalties, dead even for 30 yards. Time of possession, very interesting. Houston, 18:39, and Washington, 11:21 here in the first half. And that becomes important, really, for a Washington football team that wants to get some more points on the scoreboard. That defense is going to have to shut Houston down, get the ball back, and let the offense do something with it.
Well, Houston runs a ball control type offense, you know, where they're going to try to nickel and dime you down the field, and they've moved the ball on the Husky defense, but the Husky defense has kept them out of the end zone except for the one touchdown and the field goal. So they've done a good job. The important stat, I think, Bruce, in that first half is the fact that the Huskies haven't turned the ball over. There's been no turnovers in the game, and here's a team that in 2 games had 9 turnovers, and now they haven't had any in the first half, and, you know, this is a reason why they're leading right now.
Well, Don James took his football team out in the practice field and worked with them a little bit more. When somebody made a mistake this week during practice, what he did, he said, you'll run it again. Man, if you made that mistake, you'll run it again and again and again. Now, you remember that, and we talked about that in the pregame show, that when you make mistakes, you take your time, go back and run it over and over and over again until you get it right, and it seems to be doing some good, and Huskies seem to be doing that in this ball game.
Well, this is something that Don has done throughout his head coaching career here at Washington. I know when we started back there in 1975, we had a couple bad games, and We took the team out, and like you say, we just repeated a play until all 11 players were doing things exactly perfectly the way they were supposed to do it. And this has a way to make a real strong impression upon the players.
Washington coming back on the field. They're the Husky fans, 1,300 of them here to root for their football team, and we'll be back with the second half of the Washington-Houston game right after this. Just a reminder, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Mountain Fresh Rainier and Rainier Light, your best defense against thirst. Houston to kick it off for Washington here to start the second half. Huskies leading by a score of 13-10. We're in the Astrodome in Houston. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast of this game across the state of Washington. Chip Browndyke will kick it off. Standing back deep for Washington with the second half of the Washington-Houston game right after this. Just a reminder, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Mountain Fresh Rainier and Rainier Light, your best defense against thirst. Houston to kick it off for Washington here to start the second half. Huskies leading by a score of 13-10. We're in the Astrodome in Houston. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast of this game across the state of Washington. Chip Browndyke will kick it off. Standing back deep for Washington. On the goal line. We've got Lonzel Hill is back there. And David Trimble. Trimble's going to take the ball on the 1. Comes up the far side. Trimble still on his feet, looking for some daylight. Breaks the tackle. He's across the 34 to the 30, near the 35, marking on the 34-yard line. So Don James talking with his quarterback right now, Hugh Millen, and here comes Washington to put it in play for the first time in the second half. Interesting, Jim, to see what Washington does. If they make any changes, any subtle changes to start that second half. Rod Jones in there, number 84, as you see.
I kind of doubt that they will, Bruce. They've had good success running the football, and Hughes made some excellent throws. I think they'll stick with what they're doing. It's been working pretty good.
Trimble out far to the left. Weathersby up in the yard. Straight ahead to Rick Finney. Takes 3 people to finally slow him down and push him back after he picks up 3 yards on the play. 2nd and 7 for Washington.
You might see Houston making a few adjustments because they had a tough time that first half.
Rick Finney just powering his way up the middle.
Finney looks good.
12 carries for 46 yards in the ball game so far for the big guy out of Snohomish. And what a difference it is having him back. Hugh Millen 8 of 10. Rod Jones in motion to the left, and he gets up at the line. Trimble drops off. 4 guys in the backfield. Here comes Millen. Time to throw. It is complete to Jones, just short of the first down. Jones has the ball at the 44-yard line, just short of the first down marker. So it's going to bring up now Washington 3rd and, about 1. Kevin Alexander over there defensively for Houston. They put the 3 tight ends in the ball game for Washington now. Second half just underway. Millen's going to go over and talk to the official. This is very, very close to a first down. Just about, as you see, well, what about 3-4 inches, something like that. Millen looks over to the sideline of the Washington bench, getting in some instructions. Obviously, Washington will go for it on 3rd down. No reason for them not to, but they're going to decide exactly what they're going to do. 3rd and just a couple of inches.
I'd put my money on Finney.
Think so? Scott Jones comes into the ball game. Poirier's in the ball game, and another tight end. 3 tight ends in the ball game for Washington in a situation like this. Finney now lines up at the tailback position.
Finney might sneak it.
75. Zandowski in the red shirt, pressing it over there. The right offensive tackle position for Kevin Gokic. Poirier, man in motion. Your good call, Jim.
Well, I said Phineas might sneak it in. I meant Millen.
We know who you meant on that one. They're not going to take a chance, put it straight ahead. They take the ball to the 45 and pick up the first down. So Huskies have a first down. The first down here of the second half. And Bill Yeoman, your team trails 13-10. We mentioned at the start of the broadcast, Houston is 12-4 against non-conference teams here in the Astrodome. 1st and 10 for Washington. The Husky 45. The wide receiver split out wide to the left. Lonzel Hill, number 1. David Trimble, 23. Houston almost offside. Finney straight ahead and gets maybe a yard on the play. A lot of people there on the left side of the line, led by Eddie Gilmore, number 94. He's a big kid at 6'2", 300, senior out of Houston. Blunston also there. 13:31 to play in the third quarter. Washington leading at 13-10 over the Houston Cougars. Huskies played in the Orange Bowl last year, and they defeated Oklahoma. Houston was in the Cotton Bowl, and they lost to Boston College. Rick Finney, 13 carries for 47 yards in the ball game so far. 2nd and 9 for Washington. Here comes Miller. Time to throw. Throwing to Finney. Makes a good catch. Dances down the sideline and is finally knocked down at the 33-yard line. Rick Finney with just an outstanding run after he caught the pass. Randy Thornton knocked him out of bounds. Watch this.
Some bootleg action here by Millen. I think he was initially looking for Trimble, who was down deep, but saw Finney wide open in the flat and threw it out to him. Good effort here by Finney of staying in bounds and then getting some extra yards after he got hit initially.
Is he strong or not? Ball at the 33. 1st and 10 for Washington there. 12:51 to play in the third quarter. Huskies lead at 13-10. Vince Weathersby, who wrestled to the ground just across the line of scrimmage, going to pick up maybe a yard on the play, and that was T.J. Turner leading the charge. 6'4", 281, an All-American for the Houston Cougars. Vince Weathersby having a big night, even though the stats don't look that way. 8 carries, 29 yards, but
you know, he's had 5 catches for 31 yards in the first half, though, Bruce. So combine the rushing and the catching, he's had a pretty good evening.
There you're looking at TJ, number 95. Millen to throw. 2nd and 9. In and out of the hands of Vince Weathersby, trying to catch it on the sideline. Close to the first down marker. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 9 at the 32 with 12:06 to play here in the third quarter. Darryl Franklin comes back in the ball game. Rod Jones goes out. Huskies now have 3 wide receivers in the ball game. Houston putting in an extra defensive back. Trimble and Franklin go out wide to the right, to the top of your screen, and that's David Trimble to play in the Toronto Blue Jay Baseball Organization. Millen to throw. Looks, throws, complete, and out of bounds. Great catch by Lonzel Hill. Good for the first down.
Good throw by Millen. Good catch by Hill.
Ball will be marked at the 18. Lonzel Hill's an outstanding wide receiver.
Yes, he is. Great athlete. You know, they had Turner lined up over Burnham that time, and Burnham did an excellent job of pass protecting on their great defensive lineman, Turner.
1st and 10 for Washington at the 18. Rick Finney straight ahead. Carries tacklers with him down to the 7. Another Washington first down as he picks up 11 yards. Big hole up the middle.
That's just great blocking by the center and both guards, Thomas and Burnham and Egan. Oh, it's a trap here. Okay. Good play.
Burnham 78. Garth Thomas was 68. Dan Egan 57, the center. Got the Huskies 1st and goal to go at the 7. Millen looks, lobs it in the corner of the end zone. Intended for David Trimble and just misses him in that dirt of the infield. They play baseball here in the Astrodome, and when they set up the field, there's a baseball game this afternoon, as you see there is dirt over there in the corner, both the right and the left corner. Huskies make some changes now. Weathersby comes out of the ball game. Trimble comes out. 2 tight ends go back in the game.
I think they got their 3 tight ends. Yeah.
And Covington in the ball game.
Right.
And they've got Rick Finney up now as the tailback. 2nd and goal to go at the 7. Finney, left side to the 5. Flags fly as he gets to the 5 and picks up 3. Short of the 5, close to 3 yards.
This is a quick toss to Finney. The Houston defense does an excellent job here. They get a lot of people to the football. Finney's trying to get that extra yardage, but they get about 7 or 8 guys in on the tackle. Good job of gang tackling and knocking him back.
He takes the ball down to the 5-yard line, but they're going to bring it back, as you'll see, because of an infraction against the Huskies. There's Don James. I don't think he ever smiles on the bench, does he?
I've never seen him.
I've never seen him.
He'll smile after the game if he wins.
Okay. We'll have this penalty for you in just a second. Here's Harry on the sideline.
James has got his game face on, but his players, they're smiling right now. They know that they're moving. This dirt on the infield, by the way, is not very solid. It's real loose, so you go from that AstroTurf to the dirt, and you're going to lose your footing.
It's tough.
Luckily, Finney just landed in it now because he took a good pounding on that last play and needed a soft cushion to land on. Coming up to the line of scrimmage now. Back to you, Bruce.
Holding against Washington. That's 5 penalties in the game for 40 yards. Ball comes back out to the 17. Millen to throw. Look, he's got 2 receivers there, and in Weathersby and also Lonzel Hill, and through the hands of both of them. So now it's going to bring up 3rd down.
Well, he had Weathersby and Hill both in the same area, and I don't know who he was throwing to. Probably, well, I'd have to guess Hill. But Weathersby thought it was coming to him, and he jumped up in front of him and hurt Hill's view of the ball.
3rd down, goal to go for Washington. The ball on the Houston 17 with 11:18 to play here in the 3rd quarter, and Washington leading 13-10. Millen, 11 of 16 for 129 yards in the game, as you see. He's had the hot hand. Cool off a little here in the 2nd half. Looks, stands in, throws back in the corner of the end zone.
Oh,
no, incomplete. Darryl Franklin just made a great catch of the ball in the back of the end zone, but by the time he controlled the football, he was out of the end zone. So Washington now will attempt a field goal. Here it is again.
He's trying to hit Franklin over the middle. He looks one way, then he comes back to Franklin over the middle. Franklin, as you say, Bruce, made a great catch, but the referee signaled that he did not have possession when he crossed the end line right there, and I think it was a pretty good call.
It was close, really close.
Excellent effort on Franklin's part.
Ball at the 25, 35-yard field goal by Jeff Jaeger. Long kick, looks good, and it is. Washington scores on a 35-yard field goal to start the 2nd half. So with 11:08 to play here in the 3rd quarter, it is Washington 16 and Houston 10. There's the Washington scoring drive, 49 yards in 11 plays, 3:52 to start the 2nd half. Jaeger, they say officially now, a 34-yard field goal. Interesting so far for Washington. They've just done an excellent job defensively against the big tight end Carl Hilton. He had 8 catches for 94 yards a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa, but I'll tell you, he has just been stifled here in this football game so far. So the Huskies doing a good job against him. He hasn't caught a pass yet. Jaeger to kick it off. Ketchum and Allen standing back on the goal line for Houston. Good high kick. Well, Allen gets in front of him, takes the football. Cuts to the left side. Still going. Allen gets across the 20 to the 23-yard line. Well, they'll mark it 1st and 10 for Houston there. So the Cougars will put it in play. Huskies defensively right now. Jimmy Matthews goes back in the ball game. Andy Fuimaono is back there as well. Reggie Rogers is in the game, and that defensive line for Washington. They make those shifts. Interesting, Matthews making his first start at Washington. Andy Fuimaono, his first start, and they're playing pretty well.
Yes, they are. They're doing a good job. And like Harry said earlier, you know, it takes a little time to get comfortable with that option game, and I think they're a lot more comfortable now than they were earlier in the game.
Pearson in the ball game along with Simmons. Shepard in motion. Pearson on the left side, and oh, he doesn't get much.
Well, that was extremely well played by the right side, the whole right side of the Washington defense. Especially, watch Erlinson, number 46 out here. He's got quarterback responsibility. He scrapes on out, has a quarterback, and then worked right on out to the pitch. Good job by Erlinson.
2nd and 8, they pick up only 2. The ball at the 25. Landry. Big rush by Reggie Rogers. Throws the football. It's going to be incomplete, and Reggie was all over it. Reggie and Andy Fuimaono were back there. You watch it here again.
What he was looking for, see, he faked the option. He was looking back to hit Giddings on the right side of your screen. You can't see him. He was trying to hit Giddings deep, and he was covered, so he was looking for another receiver.
Very close to a face mask. Guess what they figure with Reggie, he got just the edge of the face mask and took his hand off. That could have been another one of those penalties on 2nd down. You stand and just shake your head about it.
Yeah.
Silly mistake. Brings third down now. Landry 4 of 8 for 45, passing. Back to throw again. Landry looking, plenty of time. Going to run with it now. Is going to be hit from behind as he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and he's still going to come up 7 yards short of the first down.
This is an excellent job by the secondary people for the Washington defense. Landry had nobody to throw to. Everybody was tightly covered in man coverage. Great job by the defense.
Bo Yates, number 3, at 11 in Oregon. Outside linebacker comes in to make the play from the backside. So Robert Myers to kick it away. Ron Milas standing on his own 30. Big rush by Washington. They have come so close. Now Milas might have a chance. Trying to cut it back to the outside. Going to be hemmed in and knocked down at the 39. You know, this punt return team said, we're going to get one in this football game. And they keep coming closer and closer all the time. One break there, and who knows, they might have been able to run that one back. So with 10:06 to play here in the third quarter from Houston, Texas, it is Washington 16 and Houston 10. You're looking at Rick Fenny, who already has a touchdown. Washington's only touchdown in the ball game. And Fenny in the game, 14 carries for 58 yards. He was resting that ankle just a moment ago, and they're putting some more tape on it. Let's see if he can get back in a football game. Huskies have it. First and 10 now to their own 39. Covington in the ball game for Fenny. Outside to good run. Picks up good yardage there as Weathersby. Vince Weathersby. And he gets about 5 on the play. Make it 2nd and 5 with the ball now at the 44-yard line, the Washington 44. Washington leading 16 to 10. Fenny is still on the sideline. Hugh Millen directing the Washington attack. Tony Covington spinning away from tacklers. Finally knocked down after he picks up the first down in Houston territory at the 47-yard line.
This is a real good run by Covington. Big hole in the middle of the line.
We see a flag.
Yeah, we got a flag by the referee. It could be holding on the Huskies.
And that flag came back way back at about the 33-yard line. And it's going to be a 5-yard penalty against Washington, and it will take the ball back to the 44.
Might have been.
Yeah, no, they're going to march it off right there. Back to the 39-yard line. Back to the original line of scrimmage.
Illegal motion on the white. Still 2nd down.
2nd down, illegal procedure against Washington on the play. So the ball goes back to the 39, and it becomes 2nd and 10 with 9:29 to play here in the third quarter in Houston. Covington and Weathersby are the running backs. A couple of red shirts. Millen looks in, throws incomplete. It's intended for Lonzel Hill. Just missed him. So Millen, who had 8 straight passes completed early in the ball game, has cooled off just a little bit now. And here's Harry Sloan with an update on Rick Fenny.
As you might expect, Bruce, that ankle that he sprained against Oklahoma State is real sore right now. Dennis Seeley retaped it. He's up walking now and should be back in with the next series. He says, I'm okay. It's sore, but I'll go.
3rd and 10 for Washington at their own 39, leading 16 to 10. Trimble in motion. Millen throw. Dropped it to Trimble, and he drops the ball. David Trimble, I think, just took his eye off the football and just dropped it. He was looking up the field.
Houston was faking a blitz on this, and then they dropped off. And you see the linebacker there trying to pick up Trimble on a crossing route. Trimble just ran right by him, just took his eyes off the ball and tried to run a little bit too quick.
So 4th down for Washington, and Thane Cleland will go back to his own 24 and try to kick it away. Not too much of a rush. Long, booming kick. What a hit. What a hit for Washington on the play. Larry Shepard back there along with Orsby Crenshaw for Houston, and a great hit for Washington, and they'll put it in play 1st and 10. Houston will at their own 23, and we'll be back at the Astrodome right after this. Back to the Astrodome in Houston. Washington 16, Houston 10. Houston with the ball now, 1st and 10 at their own 22. And off straight ahead. Spinning, driving. That's Simmons. Simmons picks up
Make it 4 on the play. 2nd and 6. And we'll move it out to 5. Make it 2nd and 5. Arizona defeating California, if you haven't heard, 23-17 earlier today. Oregon, big win over Stanford, 45-28. They're a good football team. They really are. Baylor leads USC 10-7 in the third quarter. 2nd and 5, ball at the 27. Shepard in motion. Landry, pitch wide. Simmons going to be close to the first down marker. He's run out of bounds just short of the 35-yard line.
This is Landry coming down the line of scrimmage on the option. They've got good blocking there. They crack back down on the linebacker. Peoples comes off the block, makes a nice play.
Tim Peoples making a play, and he got some help on the backside that time as well. Tony DeBencas, who was sidelined, he's back in the ball game and back out there. There's nothing really serious, so he's playing. It is now 1st and 10 at the 34, however, for Houston. They trail 16-10 with 8:07 to play here in the third quarter. Shepard in motion to the top of your screen. It was an offside. I'm not sure what in the center that didn't jump offside. It was at the right guard.
Right guard, I believe.
Gant,
yeah.
redshirt freshman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. 6'2", 270. So it's going to cost them 5 yards. And they'll move the ball now back to the Houston 29. He just missed the count sometimes.
That right guard will go back, and he said, I thought you said it was on 1.
Yeah. 1st and 15, I believe, back at the 29. He's saying, wait a minute, is it 2nd down or is it 1st down? It's only 1st down, that's right.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, still 1st down.
The referee, incidentally, is Frank Shepard out of the Southwest Conference. Houston football, 1st and 15 at the 29. Shepard in motion. Bad pitch. Ball still loose. Washington will recover. Huskies have the football, and that was David Rill to make the stop. David Rill making the stop for Washington on the play as he recovers the ball. Watch Rill, left side of your screen, number 38. Now there's
somebody got it. Was that Rill got his hand on it? No, number 3, Bo Yates got his hand on the pitch, and he misses it, and then Rill gets the fumble. I think Bo got his hand on it there.
Get another look at it right here. Here comes Landry with the ball.
Right.
Now,
yeah,
he did.
I think he did. Yeah, he got his hand on it.
Bo Yates gets his hand on the football, and Washington recovers a fumble. Could be a big play of the ball game.
Bo did a good job there of taking the quarterback out of the play so that Rill could recover it.
David Rill making the recovery for Washington. Huskies have it 1st and 10 at the Houston 18. Benny back in the ball game. Hit as he gets to the line of scrimmage and pushed back for a yard. I say his forward motion took him to the line of scrimmage. Kevin Alexander from Corpus Christi, the 2-year Letterman senior. He didn't play a couple of weeks ago. Back in the lineup, playing well.
Coach Hall's got a smile on his face now for that turnover. Had one. He's his first turnover of the game, I think, isn't it?
It is. First turnover in the ball game. Millen, 4 of 10 here in the third quarter for 47 yards. Benny hit hard again. He gets to the line of scrimmage. And boy, they're just teeing off on Rick Fenny right now. Eddie Gilmore.
This was Gilmore. Yeah, Gilmore, the nose tackle, and Turner, number 95, their All-American left tackle, made the play. First of all, it was Gilmore. Gilmore's 300 pounds. He's tough to move out of that middle.
They sometimes worry about him being in shape.
He looks like that guy for the Bears. What's his name? Big guy from Clemson.
Oh, yeah, the refrigerator.
The refrigerator, yeah.
16 carries for Fenny for 57 yards so far in the ball game. Huskies face now a 3rd and 11 at the 19. 2 plays, they've lost a yard. Rod Jones in motion. Darryl Franklin drops back. Flag goes down. Big rush by Houston. They sack Hugh Millen back at the 32. But a flag went down far down the field before the play even broke.
Houston's blitzing on the play. They brought 2 linebackers right up the middle. I think
that was Purcell. Greg Purcell was the first guy to hit him.
I think there might have been a delay of game penalty. Too much
I think
time.
There was too, and I think the ball's going to come back. We'll see. Delay of game, and the play was whistled dead before the ball was ever snapped. I think. Well, no, I'm wrong. Well, it was, and then what they'll do is give you a 5-yard penalty. That's what it is, obviously.
Dead ball. Delay of game on the offense. Still 3rd down.
I believe that Hugh was trying to audibilize on that play. It looked like he was looking out to either side, the receivers to audibilize. He took just a little bit too much time.
7 penalties for Washington, 50 yards so far in the ball game. Franklin's put out wide to the left. 3rd and 16 at the 23. Millen back to throw. Stands in. Hit just as he throws the ball, and for the third time in a row, somebody dropped it. And that was Lonzel Hill. And the pressure from Kenneth Blunston.
They got pretty good coverage, and Millen can't find anybody open there. Finally, he finds Hill open, and he throws him a good pass. He just dropped it. Like you say, here it is again. A lot of time, a lot of time.
Now Millen's going to be hit just as he gets rid of the football.
Yeah, it should have been caught, though. Hill should have had that one.
That was Blunston. So Jaeger in to kick a field goal. This was going to be marked down on the 31, so it'd be a 41-yard field goal. He has 3 already. He's 3 for 3. Ball down. It's long enough. And it's good. And Jaeger 4 for 4. Give Washington a 19-10 lead. Well, Washington 19 and Houston 10. And I know the Huskies, after recovering that fumble at the 18, obviously would love to have gone into the end zone with it. Husky fans, they're enjoying it here as they lead 19-10. Houston defense, they defense Washington very well. I mean, they knew that they were going to go to Rick Fenny, and Fenny just couldn't get any yardage. Here's Jaeger kicking the ball. You see the reaction. Is it good? Yes, it's good. And you know, Jeff Jaeger, who's only a junior, could become the all-time leading scorer in Washington before he graduated.
He's got an extremely strong leg. Most of his kickoffs have been in or close to being out of the end zone, and when he kicks a field goal, he clears it by a long ways.
3 plays for Washington on the scoring drive, as you see, -6 yards. But it took him a long time to do it. 41-yard field goal by Jeff Jaeger. And Washington leads it now by a score of 19-10. Husky fans are on their feet. They're enjoying this. Husky rally squad down here. Houston band playing across the way. A lot of Houston fans here. It's interesting to go to a football game. You know, so used to Husky Stadium where the place is sold out all the time, and you get through the Pac-10, and most of those games are sold out as well. And you look here, and there are empty seats everywhere, and there's not the excitement here in Houston as you will find in Seattle. No question about that, but it's not a great college town, as you would say. Houston will down the ball 5 yards deep in the end zone, and that's Ketchum. And they'll take over 1st and 10 at their own 20. So Houston trailing by 9, trying to get something going here in the third quarter with 6:14 to go.
Well, the Husky defense did a good job in the last series. Let's see if they can do it again. They've got Houston backed up, starting out on their own 20, and if they can hold them here in 3 downs, I think it'll give them a big boost.
Running back Pearson and Simmons for Houston. Here comes Landry. He's looking to throw. Intended for Shepard, and it was incomplete, as you see. Vesty Jackson, left corner over there defending for Washington. Shepard so far in the ball game for Houston has 2 catches for 22 yards, but still very interesting that their big tight end, Carl Hilton, so far has been shut out.
That's amazing.
Caught a pass.
Yeah,
Isn't that incredible?
2 weeks ago he got 8.
Yeah.
For 94 yards, I believe, and hadn't caught a 1 tonight.
Oh, that's a surprise. That's really a surprise. Landry back to throw again. Throws to the outside. Incomplete. That intended for Shepard as well. Interesting to keep throwing to Shepard.
Yeah, he's looking for Shepard. Shepard he's got a lot of time there on that one. Shepard runs about a 15-yard deep out pattern, and he's open, but Landry was low on the pass, just as he was the time before on the pass. He's throwing the ball a little bit into the dirt, into the turf.
You know, we're talking about Carl Hilton. Well, the Huskies shut him down last year too. Only had 2 catches in Seattle for 21 yards in that ball game. They're big enough target at 6'4", 233. 3rd and 10. Landry in trouble, going to be hit behind the line of scrimmage. And down to the 17, make it 16-yard line. And again, Bo Yates was the man. Watch number 3. It's Hadley, 59.
Hadley's got pretty good pressure. Actually, Rill was the guy coming from the outside, the right side, to put the initial pressure on him and got the first hit.
But Bo Yates was the guy who finally got him. So the Huskies now forcing Houston to kick it away. Robert Myers standing back on his own goal line. Looking for a run back. Milas, plenty of room to run this time. Looking for a seam. Will he get it? No, he is hitting good coverage. It's a 48-yard line of Washington, and the Huskies will take over there. Here's Harry Sloan.
Bruce, just an injury update. Garth Thomas, the left guard, will miss the rest of the game. He's got a thigh bruise that continues to act up, and so he will be out of action for the rest of the way.
Garth Thomas from Redmond High School, one-year letterman. So Mark Larson will be in to replace him. There's some Husky fans. They've had a lot of fun. I know a lot of them around the pool today because it was 90 degrees and about 90% humidity here today. Possibility of a thunderstorm in the area tonight. 1st and 10 for Washington. Their own 48. Weathersby for 10 yards and a Washington first down. Vince Weathersby continues to run well.
Weathersby is a very, very hard runner, very aggressive, slashing upfield runner. He's not a dancer, but he gets that positive yardage.
9 carries for 39 yards. That Husky offensive line.
They're doing a good job.
They're playing very well tonight. Weathersby and Fenny, the running back. Millen to throw. Look, thrown to the outside. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver again. And that's Gerald Franklin. I'll tell you, Millen has to go back to that huddle and look at those guys and say, wait a minute, can somebody catch the football?
Millen runs Franklin runs the out.
Oh, he should have had that one.
He sure should have.
Should have had that one.
Maybe they're not used to catching indoors.
Maybe that's what it is. Millen, 4 for 12 here in the third quarter. And he was 8 of 10 in the first quarter, in the first half. Huskies now 2nd and 10. Houston 42. Draw. Weathersby spins his way and fights his way to the 30-yard line and a Washington first down. Vince Weathersby picks up 12 yards on the play.
That's a great run by Weathersby. He had a little opening here to run, but it looks to me like right there, a guy had a chance to get right there, number 1. Oh, he got him down finally. Good slashing run by Weathersby up the middle.
He's averaging 5.1 yards a carry. 10 carries and 6 catches for 36 yards so far in the ball game. Huskies have it 1st and 10 now at the Houston 30. Washington dominating play here in the second half. Nothing to the outside. In fact, they're going to lose a couple of yards. T.J. Turner, they couldn't block him away. Weathersby loses a couple. Takes the ball now back to the 32, almost the 33. So it'll be 2nd, and they're saying 2nd and 12 now at the 32 with 4:19 to play. They're throwing something into the stands. What are those, footballs? Little white footballs they're throwing into the stands. There you see. Houston Rally Squad said, we got to get this crowd doing something because it's a little dull here. Washington's dominating play. Millen back to throw. Standing in the dirt. Finally throws. Ooh. Rod Jones can't hang on to the football. And that's about the 5th one in a row that somebody's dropped. And that was thrown just a little bit high, but here it is again. He'll stand in here and get good job from his offensive line.
You know the guy's doing a good job. There's Sandusky's doing a good job for playing his first game ever and having to block
first start ever, yes.
That Turner. He's done an excellent job on him.
He really has. Mike Sandusky, right tackle, number 75. You keep an eye on him. Redshirt freshman out of Corvallis. 78's Tim Burnham. 3rd and 12 at the 32. 6 straight passes. Millen's missed on. There's a rush. Throws it into the ground. Flag flies. And they'll say he intentionally threw the ball away. The ground of football. And that's a loss of down.
Sure is. Now, they had a blitz on here, and nobody picked up the blitzing linebacker, number 56.
That's Glenn Montgomery. Here it is. And you'll see Montgomery is right in his face, and there's nothing he can do. Or rather, around his ankle.
Oh, he was on him too quick.
So Washington now is going to have to kick the ball away. And for the Huskies, Thane Cleland will be there. Washington's had excellent field position, and they really only been able to get a field goal out of it.
That's right.
So Houston can look back on that and say, we're playing defensively pretty well. Armstrong Crenshaw is the only guy back now. Jones goes back to help him out a little bit. Here's the kick. A high kick. Crenshaw's going to let it bounce. Washington's going to try to down it, and they do at the 5. Huskies down it inside the 5. They'll mark it at 4. So Houston will have to put it in play there, and that's one of the things about a special teams. You know, if you can get a play like this, they played it very well.
They played it extremely well. This is what you try to do when you don't have a long kick. You know, if you can get the ball down inside the 10 or inside the 5 or kick it out of bounds, I mean, that's what you're attempting to do, and that's just what they did there. It's a heck of a job. Actually, the returner, you know, did what he was supposed to do. He stands on the 10. If it's over his head, he's supposed to let it go. So it was a good kick by Cleveland.
And
there's
good
Don
coverage.
James talking to Sandusky. Young man, you're playing pretty well. He has to be saying that. First and 10. Landry back in his own end zone. Throws it out. Incomplete. And it was Vesti Jackson playing against Larry Shepard. Interesting, they keep going. I mentioned this. Shepard's out there with Vesti. And Vesti is maybe Washington's best cornerback. An excellent defensive ball player. And Shepard is having his problems trying to catch the football out there. Shepard's only 2 of 22, and they've gone to him about 4 times out of about 6-8 plays. Second and 10, back at the 5. Husky fans chanting defense. Over to our left, 3:40 to play, third quarter. Landry, draw play, inside, breaks the tackle, still going. Picks up the first down is Matt Pearson, the junior fullback out of Terrell, Texas. Pearson running behind his blocking pretty well and got some of that on his own, as you'll see.
Yeah, again, it's just a draw play, and those offensive blockers for Houston are just screening the Husky defensive players and giving Pearson the opening to make the yardage and the necessary first down.
It's a big gainer for Pearson. 8 carries, 33 yards, got 13 on that. First and 10 now for Houston. Landry rolling to the outside, looks, throws, Shepard, incomplete. They say he didn't have control of the football when he went out of bounds. The back to Shepard again. Now, if you're Carl Hilton and you had 8 catches last week, you're wondering when you're going to throw the football to me.
I'd go back there and say, hey, Landry, check me out once in a while.
I'm the big guy over here,
yeah.
number 84.
One of the leading receivers in the history of this university.
That's right. Second and 10 at the 18. 3:19 to go here in the third quarter. Washington leading Houston 19-10. And off inside. Oh, up across 26 is Pearson, and it's going to be about 3 yards short of the first down marker. So it's going to bring up third. And we'll make it 2. Okay, long 2.
They got Dominguez coming in for Yates, so they're going to go to what they call their slide defense, and they put Dominguez down over the tackle.
LeBlanc comes in as a wide receiver for Houston. Here comes Landry rolling out. Looks at LeBlanc. He's got it. He's got the first down. Right at the 30. So LeBlanc makes another catch. He's now has 2 catches in the ball game.
This is
2
just
for 21 yards.
Yeah, this is just a straight sprint out pass by Landry, and LeBlanc just ran a little out pattern. They just picked up the necessary yardage for the first down.
Bernard Gettings comes in the ball game now for Houston. LeBlanc, number 14, Gettings, number 17. You're looking at LeBlanc on your screen right now. He's a sophomore. First and 10 at the 31 for Houston. Inside is Matt Pearson again, and well, he gets about 3 on the play. Second and 7. He takes the ball to the 35. 2:05 to play here in the third quarter, and Houston, as you say, a ball control type of offense, running that the Houston Veer, and it takes them a while to get down the field.
They run a lot of plays in a ball game, a lot of plays.
Run a lot of yardage in a ball game.
Yeah, and not necessarily the points that get on the scoreboard for the amount of plays that they run.
Here's Simmons, the running back. Second and 7. LeBlanc in motion to the left. Landry going to keep this time. Ooh, good defensive play by Washington. Steve Albert, number 93. Albert playing on that injured ankle. And back playing that nose guard position that he played so well. He started the first 2 games at the left defensive tackle spot. Moved back to nose guard for this ball game. And he didn't start because Matthews was in there. But boy, I'll tell you, he's a load. Interesting, his parents are down here.
Oh, they are?
Say, yeah, the Albert girls are here. You know.
That was a good play by him. He controlled that line of scrimmage, controlled the blockers, got off, made the play.
He had a whole family down here to watch the ball game. See Steve make a play. 3rd and 5 at the 36. 58 seconds to play here in the third quarter. And Landry comes up to the line of scrimmage and says, wait a minute, I don't like what I see on this third down. And Washington has 4 sacks in the ball game so far. So the Husky defense gave up a touchdown in the second quarter. They blanked him so far here in the third quarter, and they lead by a score of 19-10. Next week, the Huskies return home to open Pac-10 conference play against the UCLA Bruins. Following that, it's on to Oregon to play against the Oregon Ducks. So
is that UCLA game a big game, Bruce?
Oh, has that become a big football game? It really is. Yeah, I know a lot of Husky fans are really disappointed when Washington loses to Oklahoma State 31-17 in that opening game, and they go to BYU in the matchup between number 1 and number 2 from a year ago, and Washington loses by a score of 31-3. And so to lead in this football game, that's Andy Fuimaono you're looking at right now. He started the left defensive tackle position today. He's got something in his eyes. 6'2", weighs about 288, playing very well. Landry, incidentally, is 1 of 6 for 4 yards in the third quarter. And he faces a third down right now. 3rd and 5 at the 36-57 seconds to play in the third quarter from Houston, the Astrodome. 17-7, Baylor over USC. How about that?
That'd be a big upset. What's SC rated? Number 3 in the country right now?
Number 3 in the country.
Yeah.
Here we go. Third down. 3rd and 5 at the 36.
There he is.
Look in to the tight end. Breaks one tackle. Breaks another one. Goes to midfield. And Carl Hilton catches the ball for the first time. Takes the ball up to midfield. In fact, it's the Washington 48-yard line. Here it is.
This is the basic play to the tight end off the option. Just a little look-in pass to him. He makes a great catch.
Good for 16 yards and a first down. He runs right through Tony Zachary.
Yeah.
Weak safety up front to make the stop. So the big guy makes his first catch of the ball game, and it's 1st and 10 at the 48. Landry back to pass. Scrambles around, still looking. Here's Bo Yates. Throws deep to the outside. There is nobody there. He throws it about 20 yards over the head of Carl Hilton. Washington fans on their feet booing. They say he threw the ball away. Well, I think he was. Did. Absolutely. But there was a receiver in the area.
Right. They wouldn't call that. No. That's a good smart move on Landry's part. Everybody was covered. Nobody was open. Get rid of the darn thing.
2nd and 10 at the 48. 29 seconds to play here in the third quarter. You're looking now at the Husky bench. Don James, the middle of your screen. Skip Hall over at the right. Different Husky players in there right now. Landry, option. Pitches it. Oh, it looked like it almost was a forward lateral, but he picks up a couple of yards on the play. That's Matt Pearson, number 32.
This is a great play by the defense. Number 59, Hadley, has the quarterback sitting right on the line of scrimmage, and then Tim Peoples comes up on the pitch man. Just exactly the way you want to play the option. Everybody has their responsibility and takes care of it.
Reggie Rogers coming to the sideline right now for Washington. They make a change. Steve Roberts comes in to replace him. He's out of Ashland, Oregon. Young kid who dropped out of school and came back to play in the Washington program. Time runs out here at the end of the third quarter. So on a 3rd and 8, with Washington leading by a score of 19-10 over the Houston Cougars, let's take this timeout. Welcome back to Houston, Texas. 15 minutes to go in this football game between the Huskies and the Houston Cougars. Here's Harry Sloan with an update on this man, Rick Fenny.
Well, it appears the Huskies are going to have to go the final 15 minutes without their big fullback, Rick Fenny. He's got his right shoe off right now. They've got ice on that ankle. It's just too sore to continue. Back up to you, Bruce.
3rd and 8. Houston 5 of 10 in third down. Landry to the outside. Throws. Almost intercepted by Washington. Knocked away on a good defensive play. And it could have been David Rill who got a hand up there. They got 4th down.
He was looking for LeBlanc, the flanker, on a little quick look-in pass, a little quick slant-in pass, and good coverage. Had the linebacker, David Rill, was in his face, had his hands up, and got a piece of the ball.
Robert Myers to kick it away.
Good defense by the Huskies.
4th and 8 at the 46. Ooh, almost blocked again. Ron Milam in trouble at the 15, gets back to the 16-yard line. It's only a couple on the play.
Cougars are doing a good job of covering punts tonight.
Houston held the ball for 11 plays in 4 minutes without a score at the end of the third quarter. And we'll be back with more from Houston right after this. Group of Husky cheerleaders who made the trip and enjoyed the day here in Houston. As we said, it was about 90 degrees, humidity about 90%. A lot of them around the pool earlier today. 1st and 10 now for Washington on their own 17. Straight ahead to Tony Covington. T.J. Turner making the stop. Picks up only a couple on the play. Takes the ball to the 19-yard line. I think it's 2nd and 8 at the 19.
14:32 to play in the football game. Washington leading it 19-10. The Huskies now offensively in their backfield. The up back is Weathersby, and Tony Covington also in with Rick Penny on the sideline. Weathersby. Ooh, what a hit. Bounces off of it. Keeps going. He makes only a couple of yards on the play, and that's across the 20 to the 22.
It's good defense by the Cougars. You see number 51, their linebacker,
McGuire,
playing it perfectly. Just good inside-out position on the running back coming up and making the play. Good, square, solid hit.
3rd down for Washington. 3rd and 6. Oh, just across the 21. Weathersby in the draw. Oh, there is nothing. He's stopped before he gets to the line of scrimmage and knocked back to the 19. Kenneth Blunston, the junior, right defensive tackle from Garwood, Texas, is right there. So the Huskies going to have to kick it away now as Weathersby comes to the sideline. 4th and 8. Huskies looking at the clock, I'm sure, with 13:15 to go. Huskies so far in the game, 248 yards and 16 first downs. Crenshaw standing back on the 40. Thane Cleland. Big rush. Oh. It is blocked by Houston, and the ball will go out of the back of the end zone.
Safety.
It's a safety. So Houston gets a couple of points on the safety.
You know,
the ball was blocked by Larry Ball.
I believe this is the first time that he's ever had a punt block, Cleland, in his career. Yeah.
And boy, it was blocked.
There was no question. Look at, oh, there he is right there, 43. Okay, I thought that maybe that nobody blocked him at all, but they tried to block him, and I thought maybe it was a mental error, a busted assignment. They tried to block him, they just missed him. That's a good effort on his part.
That's for a safety for 2 points for Houston, and Washington's going to have to kick it away and back to Houston again.
See, that's a big play, Bruce, that 2 points, because they had a 9-point lead. Now it's down to 7. A touchdown ties it. Go for 2 and they win it.
That's right.
That could be a very big factor here as the game wears down here to the end.
You see Don James talking to Jeff Jaeger. If the ball would have been recovered in the end zone, it's touchdown. But the ball goes over the end line, last touched by Houston, and it's a safety. 19-12. Will the game turn around?
Yeah, the bad news is it was blocked. The good news is it wasn't a touchdown. It was only a safety.
But the other bad news is that Houston's going to get the ball back.
That's right.
You're looking at number 80, Anthony Ketchum. Washington will kick the ball off from their own 20 after a safety. Jaeger will kick it off from there. So Ketchum and Earl Allen are standing back on their own 20-yard line. So Houston, as you might expect, is going to get excellent field position. Here comes Jaeger. Good high kick. Allen driven back to the 16. Allen to the outside. He's away from one man. Allen still on his feet at midfield, and Allen out of bounds at the Washington 44. Great run back by Earl Allen. Boy, they found a lane down the left side, as you'll see, and it was wide open.
They sure did, and he makes a nice cut here to the outside. Number 80's leading the play. Looked like there might have been a somewhat of a breakdown in the coverage by the Huskies. There had to be.
So the Huskies now facing a difficult situation. That was a 44-yard return as Houston has the ball in Washington territory with 12:47 to go. Houston trailing 19-12. Landry back. Looking, throws over the middle, in and out of the hands of his tight end, intended for Carl Hilton.
They had, you may see it here. Yeah, here we see he's looking for Hilton all the way. He wanted to throw it earlier, but both Real and Erlickson had pretty good coverage on him, so he had to delay his throw, and by that time it gave the linebackers a little bit more time to react to the ball. But he was definitely looking for Hilton all the way there.
Sloan Hood now entered a running back spot with Michael Simmons for Houston. Bernard Gettings brings the play in. LeBlanc in motion. Flag flies, handoff straight ahead to Simmons. Huskies play it very well. He gets only about a yard on the play. And Washington saying it's a hold. And the penalty is going to be against Houston, and I think it will be. No illegal procedure. Somebody moved before the ball. And so that's going to cost him 5 yards.
This Husky defense has played very well the second half, Bruce. They've had their backs to the wall a little bit, and I look up here at the scoreboard. The Cougars have only gained 178 yards in over 3 quarters of play.
And the Huskies now decline the penalty, bringing up 3rd and 10 at the 44. Talk about an important play in a drive. This could be it.
Could be an important play in a game.
That's right. Washington 19, Houston 12, 12:26 to play in the 4th quarter. Houston facing 3rd and 10 at the Washington 44. Landry back to throw. Throws complete. That's complete to LeBlanc for the first down at the 30. Dwayne LeBlanc came back to make the catch, and they'll mark it at the 29.
That was a great play by Landry because he had good pressure on him from Bo Yates and Erlinson. He got the pass off. A good throw, good catch. Big play for the Cougars.
He beats Bestie Jackson. Huskies make a change. Matthews back in the ball game. Dominguez out. 1st and 10 for Houston now at the Washington 29. Landry, handoff. Sloan Hood picks up 8 on the play. Takes the ball to the 21. Sloan Hood, a sophomore out of Houston.
Hood hasn't played a lot tonight, but he's played quite a bit in his career here with Houston. Last year he was a good ball carrier for him. They kind of alternate those 2 fullbacks.
2nd and 3 for Houston. The Washington 22, 11:32 to play in the football game. Huskies leading 19-12. LeBlanc in motion. Landry, handoff straight ahead to Hood again, and Hood gets the ball to the 20. He's going to be short of the first down marker. Due to the length of tonight's game, here's a program update. On KOMO TV4, the premiere of Hollywood Beats and Lime Street will both air in their entirety immediately following the conclusion of tonight's Washington-Houston football game. Third and 1 at the 20 for Houston. Ball loose. Washington has it. Huskies recover the fumble. Landry fumbles the handoff, and Washington has it. That's Hadley coming up with a football. There you see the handoff, the ball knocked loose.
It looks like Real got it out of there. Real made a nice play and might have knocked the ball out of there, and Hadley got the recovery. Now that's a big play right there.
What a play. Good play by Ron Hadley, the senior 2-year letterman from Boise, Idaho. The civil engineering major makes the play. So the Huskies hold, and they'll take over 1st and 10 now at the Houston 25. 10:45 to play in the ball game. Franklin in motion, top of the screen. Weathersby dives over the center of the line. He'll pick up only a couple on the play. Make it 2nd and 8 now as he takes the ball out to the 27-yard line. Kenneth Blunson in the right defensive tackle position, making the initial hit for the Houston Cougars.
Go back to turnovers again, Bruce. You know, they're such a critical part of the game, as most people know, but they've had 2 takeaways tonight and have not given the ball back to Houston at all. And they've had 2 big takeaways. One down there deep in Houston's territory to get a field goal, and of course this one here maybe to save a touchdown or a field goal.
T.J. Turner was the man shaken up on the play for Houston.
Here's the play again. Here's the fumble again. Let's.
But here's the shake-up here, not the fumble.
There it is.
Washington
right
with the ball. 95 is going to come in on the right side of your screen and take a pretty good pop. And Houston takes a timeout on the field. So Houston wants to talk it over on 2nd and 8 at the Washington 27, with the Huskies leading 19-12. We'll be back at the Astrodome right after this.
Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity, we are rapidly...
8 for Washington at their own 27. Huskies anxious to get the ball into play. Millen, the line of scrimmage. Long count. Millen back to throw. Pretty good rush. He's in trouble. Throws to the outside. Almost intercepted. Oh, that ball was almost picked off. Millen
throwing a ball on the run, threw it into some traffic, and almost had it picked off. You see it here now. Here's the rush.
They had two guys putting pressure on him here, and he's retreating, falling backwards as he makes the throw. That's a tough one to complete. Pretty good coverage there, too. A lot of Houston guys around the receiver.
Intended for Tony Covington on the sideline. Now it brings up 3rd and 8 for Washington, around 27. Down to the point where the Husky offense is going to have to move the football a little bit. Millen 4 of 14 here in the second half for 47 yards. 8 of 10 in the first half. Going to the outside to Lonzel Hill. It is complete, and Hill out of bounds at the 40-yard line, and the Huskies have their first down.
Houston's in a zone defense here, and what Millen does is he catches Hill in the zone between the linebacker and the corner, and it's a good throw and a good catch. Big first down play. They needed that one.
Greg Pearsall was the man over there defending for Houston, but Washington gets the first down. Excellent play. Hill, 3 catches for 51 yards. Inside to Tony Covington. He'll pick up 4. Take the ball to the 44. Kenneth Brunston, defensive tackle on the right side, makes the stop for Houston. There you see after 3 quarters, Huskies 16 first downs. Rushing yardage about even. Passing 13 of 25 or 6 of 5. 134 yards passing for Washington. Total yards 235 to 170. Time of possession. Now Washington leads in time of possession 25:53 to a little over 19 minutes. Huskies now facing a 2nd and 6 at the 44. Clock ticking away. 9:34 to play in the football game. They lead by 7. Weathersby to the outside. Trying to get around a couple of tacklers. Picks up 2 yards on the play. Brings up now a 3rd and 4 for Washington.
On that time of possession, you know, Houston had the ball 18 minutes the first half, and now they've only had it 19-something through 3 quarters. That means they only had about a minute and something the 3rd quarter. That can't be right.
No, it can't be right, because I thought they had the ball longer than that, but that's what the stats come up right now in the 3rd quarter. Interesting. Huskies, you go into the 4th quarter now, have more yardage than that. They have 17 first downs to 14 for Houston. Now 3rd and 3 at the 47 for Washington. A long 3, almost 4. Millen looking. Pretty good block. Goes deep down the sideline to Franklin. Makes the catch at the 30-yard line and finally knocked down at the 28. Oh, and the ball comes loose, and Darryl Franklin makes the catch, and is he excited?
That's a great play. What they did here is they faked the out route to Franklin, and now Franklin's going to run an out and then up the field. And the ball's thrown a little bit behind him, and he comes back for it and makes the play.
The ball comes out after he's on the ground, so no fumble.
No fumble. Great adjustment by Franklin, because the ball was a little bit underthrown.
Huskies have it 1st and 10 now at the Houston 28. We said that offense had to get a couple of first downs if Washington really wanted to maintain momentum in this game. Weathersby. He runs by a couple of people and takes the ball to the 17. He picks up about 11 yards on the play. It's going to be good for the first down.
Good call. We got a draw here on first down. A little delay action. Good blocking by the offensive line. Good running by Weathersby.
Vince Weathersby so far in the game now, 17 carries in the ball game.
Well, he's not afraid to lower that shoulder and slam it into those defenders. Watch this right here.
64 yards. Oh,
Good
you look
job.
for that if you're a coach, don't you?
You bet. You want those tough guys in there.
I heard that before. Franklin in motion to the left. Number 7. 1st and 10 for Washington. Here's Weathersby. Looking for daylight. Breaks one tackle. Dives straight ahead, and he's going to pick up 8 yards on the play and take the ball inside the 10-yard line to the 9.
Yeah, he breaks this thing outside. It starts to go up inside. He breaks it outside, and look at right there. He gets hit, still fighting for that yardage. Look at that. Good effort.
Weathersby, 17 carries so far in the ball game for Washington. Well, 18 for 72 yards.
This guy's a workhorse. Look at him. He's tired. He's still going. You can tell he's tired.
Yeah, redshirt freshman, Dorsey High School in Los Angeles. Franklin in motion. Huskies facing 2nd and 2 at the 9. Weathersby going to be close to the first down marker, but I think he comes up short. Very close to the marker. That's Gary McGuire was the first man to hit him. 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1.
I think the Huskies are going to get in the end zone on this drive, Bruce. I really do.
Weathersby, 5'11", 192. Now, Rick Fenny's on the sideline, and Tony Covington is in at fullback, and he's been playing last couple of series. He's on the Cleveland High School of Portland. He's only 5'11", 198. 3rd and 1 for Washington. Covington spins. I think he's going to be short of the first down.
Yeah, they're going to go for field goal. I was wrong.
Well, they could go for it in 4th down.
Yeah, they're not going to. They're sending in Jaeger.
Trying to work on the left side of the line, and good defensive play by Glenn Montgomery was over there. Also, Kenneth Blunson was in on the play and played very well.
This would be his 5th field goal if he makes. Is that some kind of a record in one game?
He's 4 for 4.
Might be, huh?
Kicks up.
There's 5.
Looks good in his ears. He's 5 for 5.
That's got to be a record, doesn't it?
It has to be a record. That's right. Washington 22 and Houston 12, and we'll get the record book out right now. We'll be back in a moment. Jeff Jaeger kicking the field goal, setting a Washington record. He is 5 for 5. That's the all-time Washington record. Jimmy, being an ex-coach there, you knew what that record was right away. Whole record was 4, held by Don Martin and Steve Robbins and Chuck Nelson. Jeff Jaeger had 4 on 3 other occasions. 1983 against Oregon, then Northwestern last year, and against Oregon State last year. But this is 5 for 5 for Jeff Jaeger. 22-12. Washington leads by 10. Important drive for Washington as they get 3 points in the scoreboard. 11 plays, 66 yards. And a 4:38 in the clock. Here's the kick. It is 9 yards deep in the end zone, and Houston will put it in play on their own 20. So that takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails, I would think, for the Houston Cougars here to give up that much time on the clock, and at the same time see Washington get 3 points back on the scoreboard. So Washington leads by 10, 22-12.
Yeah, that gives them a little bit more breathing room. Now they've got, they got a touchdown and a field goal advantage on them, and only got 6 minutes to go. So
total yards so far, Huskies 378 to 197 for the Houston Cougars. Houston put it in play now with Landry at quarterback. He hands off to the right side, and that's Pearson. Good for about 3.
Good play by Andy Fuiamono right there, playing at that left tackle position.
12 carries for Matt Pearson, 51 yards so far in the ball game. Husky defense really playing very well.
Yes, they are, especially the second half.
Really picked it up. 2nd and 8 at the 22. Pitch to the outside. Stop back at the 20 for a loss of 2 on the play. Back to the original line of scrimmage is Michael Simmons. And you mentioned David Rill, and what's this?
Another excellent defense here. David Rill is scraping out to the outside. He checks the dive. He checks the quarterback right there on the pitch man along with Tim Peoples. Excellent linebacker play by Rill, and excellent corner play or safety play by Peoples.
5:10 to play in the football game. Washington 22, Houston 12. 3rd and 9 now for the Cougars. 21. Landry back to throw. Looks, goes over the middle. It will be picked off by Tony Zachary. Zachary is going to be hit and knocked down at the 34-yard line, but Tony Zachary has his first interception. Now Zachary...
Landry's looking for Hilton here coming across, and Zachary's in good position back there in the deep middle and picks it off. A little overthrown, Zachary picks it off. Big play for him. First game.
Tony Zachary out of Franklin High School in Seattle. There you see him. And it's his first start for Washington at the weak safety position. He played behind Darrell Hall, who broke his foot against BYU, played the second half against BYU. He was a wide receiver in the spring and was converted to that weak safety position in the fall and is playing very well. And you look around, and the 20,000 plus here, one of the smallest crowds ever to see Washington play, begin to lead. Handoff straight ahead. That's Tony Covington with the ball. He picks up about 5 on the play. So Huskies controlling the football now with 4:42 to go in the ball game. We've mentioned 20,000 plus here to watch this football game. Kind of surprises you. Here's a team that won the Orange Bowl last year and a team that played the Cotton Bowl last year, and they can only draw that many people down here. You're looking at the Washington bench now. Bill Yeoman on the other side to get his team going. Huskies now facing a 2nd and long 5 at the 30. Weathersby down to the 20, or make it the 32-yard line. He's going to be short of the first down by about 3 yards. Picks up only a couple on the play.
What's the
Place like this, the clock just continues to run.
Yeah, and that's what they wanted to do right now. They got a 10-point lead. They got good field position here. They can afford to run the ball and use up time on that clock. I think they'd like to get in the end zone, but they'll settle for the win.
Rod Jones in motion to the right. He sets up at the line of scrimmage. David Trimble drops back to put 4 in the backfield. Handoff. Weathersby. Big hole. Gets the first down and goes to the 15. McManus was the first man to hit him.
3rd and 5, Bruce. Houston might have been expecting a pass, and they gave the ball to Weathersby on the draw out of the eye, and they picked up excellent yardage.
21 carries for 86 yards.
He's having a good night, isn't he?
He hit 74 against BYU in that ball game. That Husky offensive line, they're doing a good job. Opening some holes. 1st and 10 for Washington. The ball at the 15. Just short of the 15, 16. Straight ahead goes Tony Covington. Harper was the first man to hit him inside, the right inside linebacker. 6'2", 237 sophomore. He out of Kansas City, Missouri. Tony Covington, Cleveland High School in Portland, redshirt freshman, 5 carries, 16 yards. Went in for Rick Fenney, who had a big first half, played about half the 3rd quarter, and then the ankle began to act up a little bit more, so he's out. Fenney, 16 carries for 57 yards in the ball game, and the Washington touchdown. Only one of the games scored in the 2nd quarter. Other than that, it's been all Jeff Jager. He's kicked 5 field goals. He's 5 for 5 tonight. Ooh, Weathersby hit behind the line of scrimmage, and you know the name, number 95, T.J. Turner. Now, Turner, an outstanding player, is going to make a play like this.
Again, it looked like there might have been some kind of a mix-up in blocking assignments because he came scot-free. You or I could have made that play. You know, nobody blocks you. It's easy to make a tackle.
Well, when you're 6'4", 281.
That helps, too, doesn't it?
That helps a little bit. 3rd and 9 for Washington at the 15. 2:07 to play in the ball game. Washington leading 22-12. Huskies trying to pick up their first win of the year. Millen. Will he throw? No. Back to Weathersby. Weathersby still going. Weathersby will take it into the end zone. And Washington scores. A 15-yard burst up the middle by Vince Weathersby. And he scores his first touchdown at Washington. Watch this.
Little delay, little draw type action, a little delay action, and just a good run, good blocking. God, he had a big hole. Nice run.
Now, talk about that offensive line. They opened that hole, don't they?
A great hole. And again, I think Houston was playing the pass and getting upfield, and just an excellent job of execution by the Husky offense.
6 plays for Washington to get in the end zone. You talk about a happy group.
Yeah, they're fired up, aren't they? They ought to be.
Jager in to attempt the extra point. Kick is up. Jager's absolutely perfect in this ball game. So the Huskies lead it now by a score of 29-12 over Houston. And as we'd mentioned, there's the guy, Vince Weathersby, from Dorsey High School in Los Angeles. His first start at Washington. He's a redshirt freshman. Don James says, I want a running back that's going to run hard.
Well, he's got one.
The man.
He's got him, and he's got Finney, and he's got Covington. All those guys are running hard. They look very, very good tonight.
So Vince Weathersby scores his first touchdown at Washington. This is his first start. This is Matt Simon. That's the running back coach at Washington. And you talk about a guy with a smile on his face.
He's got a smile on his face because he knows Don James is going to be a lot easier to live with this next week.
Locker room will be a little bit different than it was at BYU.
That's right. Nice trip home.
Yes, you could hear a pin drop. 1:55 to play in the ball game. Washington's Jager will kick it off. And he has had a big night. So the Huskies, something really goes wrong, going to pick up their first win of the year. And the ball's going to be dropped a yard deep in the end zone. And Houston will put it in play on the 20, and that was Earl Allen. Here's the scoring drive, 6 plays, 34 yards, 2:59 off the clock, and that 15-yard run on the 3rd down by Vince Weathersby. So the Husky defense back on the field, knowing that they really have played very well.
You know,
so far.
You look up here, they've held the Houston Cougars, a very, very good offensive football team. They've held them to less than 200 yards total offense with a little less than 2 minutes to go in the ball game.
And Washington has amassed 416 yards in total offense. And they said
They wanted that Washington offense to finally do something. Well, they're doing it tonight. Handoff up the middle. Good break. Good run to the outside. That's going to be very close to a first down. Matt Pearson. So Pearson has 13 carries in the ball game so far for Houston. I think they surprised some people.
Simmons makes a good block on Hadley, and Pearson makes a nice cut to the outside. Good gain.
They say he was over the first down marker out to the 31. So it's 1st and 10 for Houston at that point. Landry rolling back, looking, throws to the outside. It throws behind the intended receiver, and that's Carl Hilton. I'll make it Dwayne LeBlanc. LeBlanc, number 14.
Landry sprinting out to the right, looking for LeBlanc on a little curl-in route, and he throws him too far to the outside. LeBlanc can't get his hands on it. Not a very good throw that time.
Huskies have made some changes in there. I know Paul Waskim is playing right now, number 55. Waskim, interesting situation. 3 brothers in the Washington program right now, all played at Juanita High School. Also in Brian Habib, who moves from the nose guard to the left defensive tackle position for this ball game. Roberts in there as well. Throw over the middle, incomplete. That's intended for the big tight end, Carl Hilton. Huskies defending that play very well. So chance for Don James to get some other people in there and play. Make another change inside right now. Dory Murray, the redshirt freshman from Interlake High School, comes in now for Jimmy Matthews. So Dory Murray, whose father, you know, played in the NBA, played for the Sonics.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
I remember when he played at Interlake. We had left, but I remember that name.
Oh, he's a good football player.
Yes, I know he is. I know the Huskies. Yes.
Young redshirt freshman, playing the nose guard spot right now. 3rd and 10 at the 31. Landry back to throw. Looking over the middle. He's got his man. That's Ketchum. Ketchum gets the first down. A wild scramble out there. Ketchum felt that.
Yeah, I think this is the first pass Ketchum's caught tonight, isn't it?
Yes.
He's their speed guy. Got great speed. Runs a 10-400 meters.
Yeah, Ketchum's first pass of the ball game. Good for 22 yards. Yeah, he gets in the open. Look out.
Yeah.
Gettings comes out wide to the left. Anthony Ketchum is number 80. Goes to the sideline. Greg Landry back to throw. Scrambling around. Gets away from one man. Away from another. Still on his feet. He's going to get the first down and out of bounds. There's only 1:10 to go in the ball game. He takes the ball.
I mentioned earlier.
Down to the 20 or make it the 34-yard line, and the Huskies put their first defensive unit back in the ball game.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that the Husky defensive coaches were concerned about his ability to run the football when he was sprinting out to pass, and this is the first time that he's really, well, not the first time, but he really hasn't hurt him that way too much tonight, which has been good.
1st and 10 now at the Washington 34. 1:10 to play in the football game. Landry's going to hand it inside and pick up about 4 yards on the play by Michael Simmons. He's the junior from Rockport, Texas.
Don got that first defense back in there pretty quick, didn't he?
Oh, he did. No question about that. So now it brings up a 2nd and 6. The ball at the 30-yard line. Less than a minute to play now. 54 seconds. Washington leading it 29-12. Landry going to go back to throw. Blitz on. They get Landry and knock him down. Tim Peoples coming from the outside on a safety blitz, and he got it for the sack. That's 5 sacks for the Huskies in the ball game.
Yeah, here comes Peoples. They call this a crash. The Huskies call this a strong safety crash, and it worked great. Hard to pick that guy up. Sometimes you don't have any blocker or counter for that strong safety when he blitzes.
I'm looking down at the Washington bench, and they've got a stretcher down there, and they're going to help somebody off the field. We'll tell you who it is in just a moment. 3rd and 13 at the 37. Landry back to throw. He's got time this time. Look out. Going to be hit and stopped behind the line of scrimmage. On a fine defensive play for the Huskies, Ron Hadley. Ronnie's having himself quite a football game.
Hadley's played an excellent game tonight. Good coverage again by the Huskies secondary. Landry had nobody to throw to, and it gave time for that rush to get in there and get him. Good play by Ron Hadley on the rush. He was looking for Ketchum again, and Miles had good coverage on Ketchum.
Well, they take the stretcher away. We didn't mean to scare you, but we looked. I think it's going to be Rick Fenny who's going to be helped off. They've got that ankle in ice, and he's going to be helped off the field right now. But 6 seconds to go in the ball game. It's not Rick Fenny? Okay, well, we'll see who it is then.
Is it Thomas? Garth Thomas?
Garth Thomas is going to be helped off.
Yeah.
So Fenny was next to him. Yeah, Harry?
Garth Thomas. It's that thigh bruise, and they just don't want to aggravate it anymore, so they're going to wheel him off the field.
Okay. Fenny was down there next to him.
He was indeed, and he seems to be well. He's up and kind of has a smile on his face right now. He's talking to Hugh McMillan.
I imagine that whole bench has a smile on their face. Here we go. 4th and 16 to 41 with 6 seconds to go. Houston has the ball. Washington has this one put away. They lead it 29-12. Landry, final play of the game. Goes deep to his big tight end. Be intercepted by Washington. Huskies have the football, and they intercept it. And that's Tony Zachary, number 31, with the interception. And Washington wins the football game 29-12.
They're trying to get a big touchdown here. Actually, one of the defenders had fallen down, and Zachary's playing the deep middle in his zone defense, trying to keep him out of the end zone right where he's supposed to be, and makes a good interception. That's 2 for him tonight.
Okay, so Washington wins it by a score of 29-12, and we'll be back with a final comment right after this.
Introducing something new.
By a score of 29-12 here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas tonight. First win of the year for Washington. They are now 1-2. They move on now to play UCLA, their opening conference game coming up next Saturday. Quite a football game. Good to see the offense, Jimmy Mora, get out there and do something and score a couple of touchdowns. And I think they found a running back, a young kid named Vince Weathersby tonight, didn't they?
There's no question about that. He had a great night running the ball and also as a receiver. You know, they threw to him quite a bit, and he did an excellent job. Very hard, very aggressive. I thought Finney ran well. I thought Covington ran well. I thought the offensive line did an excellent job.
Defensively, with all the changes now, as we said, they slid some people around, started a couple of guys for the first time, and it played very well. Fui Maona starts for the first time, and they start Jimmy Matthews in the center for the first time as a nose guard, and I thought they played well.
I think the Husky defensive coaches are going to feel real good when they look at the films. They had some trouble early, but like we commented on, you know, that option's a tough thing to get used to, but the second half they were super, but overall played a good defensive game.
They certainly did. Harry Sloan's been down there closer to the action. He's on the sideline. Harry, what'd you think?
Well, let me tell you this. I'll be first in line in the Vince Weatherby fan club. That kid played a heck of a game. He came out a couple times after being banged around and just his shoulder was hanging and everything else, but he just stuck it in there and made some big plays. They went to their victory offense late in the game, just pounded it out, grinded it out, and got the job done. Kind of a touching moment at the end of the game. The players, before heading to the locker room, came over here and saluted the 1,300-plus Husky fans that were here. The eyes of Texas definitely smiling on the Huskies tonight. It's going to be a nice ride home back to Seattle. Bruce, back to you.
We should tell you, Hugh Millen, unofficially 14 of 26, 172 yards tonight. Weathersby, 23 carries for 98 yards, 1 touchdown. And Rick Fenny, 16 carries, 57 yards for a touchdown. Landry, 8 of 22, had 2 interceptions, 102 yards tonight. So Huskies play very well. They defeat the Houston Cougars by a score of 29-12. For Jim Moore and for Harry Sloan, this is Bruce King. We hope you enjoy the telecast tonight, and this reminder that this broadcast is brought to you in part by Mountain Fresh Rainier and Rainier Light, your best defense against thirst. This has been a KOMO TV Sports presentation.
In the past.